Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. And this is my sidekick, Morty, aka Jesus Cat. Welcome to the party, everybody. Especially shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. Plus, I drop videos every single day, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss a party. Before we begin, let's say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right, let's party. So, just a quick intro. You know, a lot of you who are here all the time, you know, Middle Ground and Jubilee and what they do. But so if you're not familiar, the channel Jubilee does a segment called Middle Ground where they will have, you know, a group of people of one ideology or something, and then an opposing side. They'll put out prompts and they make a discussion out of it. So this one is male feminists versus female anti-feminists. Need I say more? Need I say more? Plus, Amala from TPUSA is in this. So let's just dive right into it. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges
Yup.
today than men.
Y'all better step forward. Of course, the women do.
I went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have, but with this new feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action hiring and scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing.
Hey, we got Kluke in the building. Long time no see. Welcome back, brother. Good to see you. How have you been? Welcome. We are doing another Jubilee Middle Ground.
Or achievement are prioritized above men, but men also have different privileges that they get to access. I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement now. There is more.
Hey, we got 2B Artistry in the building. Welcome to the party. Working man, that's what I love. A working man, do your thing, brother. Glad to see ya.
If you are born into this life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man. From the time they are little, girls are always like doted on and you're so pretty and cute.
Very coddled.
They're coddled, right?
Yep. Hey, we got David Banner in the building. What is good? What is good? Male feminists seem sort of like a wolf in sheep clothing to me. Yup. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
As they should be, you know. We want that feminine, nurturing energy in them. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans.
Facts.
Men don't have that privilege. Now, women don't have to like work to get a guy. They're just hot, and then guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence.
It's nice to be able to hear these talking points, so to speak, coming out of somebody other than a Red Pill podcast. It's nice to see that there's just, I mean, I don't know who this person is or what she does, but it's just nice to hear it in a way that is not, you know, that very confrontational podcast, like Fresh and Fit type thing.
He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally. By just having a vagina, as I said.
That's why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement has been all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that they only have. I would say
that's because it doesn't exist.
The one thing I would say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say is.
This is the one, even the anti-feminists are going to go down this. Well, I can walk. You can walk down the street at night. Excuse me. I am 5'4" and I have long hair, so I would definitely be an easier target than you at 6 foot whatever with your, whatever. I mean, come on. Hey, we got Dan Jensen in the building. What is good, Dan? Always supporting your boy. Said other way around, David. A sheep in wolves' clothing. Oh, that's a bar starting off hot. Welcome.
Is that women are disadvantaged from. By nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
It's great biceps. And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
Guns are a good answer to that. But yeah, as I was going to say, is that it's like even just me personally, but the violence that occurs in that fashion where you're just on the street and you get attacked is overwhelmingly more men than women.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. The Duluth model, I think is how you pronounced it.
Okay, so what does it say here? It says the Duluth model focuses on men who commit the crime of DV and female victims. Its theory is based on an understanding of male power, control, and dominance as culturally and historically pervasive, and which allowed, if not encouraged, men to control women, sometimes using violence. I mean, okay, fair. There definitely was a time when that it made sense that like no matter what, we're gonna kind of lean towards the woman's side. But then we got feminism, so we don't need that anymore.
And that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything, but it's certainly in all of the police departments. Is if feminism is all about equality, why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically.
Facts.
The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally who
Preach.
have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations. You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what? I'm going to join. Like, this seems fun.
Seems like fun. Seems like a way to get attention on the internet from strangers without actually having to do anything. Is there anything else that we talk about all the time that fits that description?
Like,
For clout,
it's not
I think it's
fun.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you
Right.
couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it
Bars. It's not just the Me Too movement, because there were people like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world that needed to be exposed for sure. I mean, I don't know if you'll find anybody who is going to be on that dude's side, but it's when you couple it with the believe all women. That was the end.
becomes an
And the
inherently harmful.
victimization
It
of women who
encouraged
aren't
people.
really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. It's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
All right. So now the disagreeers, all the male feminists, are now going to step
appreciated
forward.
the distinction of more.
Oh, we got Kluke here in the building. I don't know if you've been here in a while, but every single super chat comes with a treat for Morty. I'm going to pull this down. Yeah, say thank you to Kluke. Says, here's half a delivery fee for Uber Eats or something. Very, very, very much appreciated. And you are the new sponsor of the stream. Yes, the highest super chat or Cash App or whatever gets the sponsor of the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like women that must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was
But
a
I
woman
don't
who
think we're
was,
including trans women into feminism.
and I
That's
think
a
we
whole
definitely
other-
should.
I
Of course you think we should.
don't
Like-
think we should
I don't think
at
we
all.
should.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a child. It's anything from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
Shout
I do
out
have
to
a question
Dylan
for you based on the
Mulvaney.
prompt, though, because you've lived in both experiences, at least socially. I'm curious, when you transitioned to male and people started perceiving you as male, like most people did today, what privileges changed for you, or what did you see enter your life that you didn't have before?
Yeah, and that's sort of where a lot of my beliefs in feminism do lie, is
Mhm.
because being out into the world as a gay woman was the way I was seen. Men treated me definitely not nearly as well as they did. I was bullied in school. I had people call me slurs, and it seemed like it was because I was threatening to like the male structure that we are in, where
Was it that, or was it because you were just different and people make fun of what's different? Was it because you were specifically what you were and nobody else in the school got any kind of bullying or anything? I'm not saying that it's okay, but I got bullied for stuff too. And, I mean, unlike you, I can't just change myself to be a tall guy now.
it's like male and female, because I was a female who liked females, I was somehow infringing on that, and so they didn't like me. Things changed.
Kluk says, men are taking a page out of women's playbook by ruining lives through social pressures. Spot on, brother. Spot on.
Naturally when you socially transition and are perceived by the world in a different way. When I transitioned from being perceived as female to the world to just pretty much passing or blending full-time as male, was that I got a lot more respect from other men. People listened to me and took me seriously. In a social passing setting, people aren't going to harass women who are around me if I'm walking with them at night, which is just a benefit I never thought about.
If you're going to turn into a man, at least get your facts and statistics about men in line. You are now more likely to get attacked in public because you appear as a man. That's how that works. I just want to point out that we got a 100% no on the poll. Do you trust a male feminist?
With caveat, actually. So I say that, yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't, but also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well, they
for
can
trying.
He sounds like a male feminist.
He's like, I think, that sometimes things are different. Like,
Say what you trust.
For child support, which they
But are you
do.
saying
Oh,
she
you
can't run
can
away?
go to jail.
Are you saying
They could
she
take
can't
your
run away
money.
from the pregnancy?
But you
yeah,
could
but
actually
yes.
physically leave.
Leave.
I
I
know
could
what you're
physically
saying.
leave at the
Yeah, Cook's saying that I always love how people say passing or blending in as the opposite gender, but it's so patently obvious they're still a guy or girl 99% of the time. And that is why they are so so fervent about getting us to reaffirm them, because they know they're not passing. But that's delusion. That's delusion.
At the end of the day, I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same. There's no way to
He's-
objectively measure it.
He speaks more like a woman than the trans dude.
Well, and in the scenario that you pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the country.
yes.
Yeah.
In some states,
That's
no.
That's a
absolutely
major
true as well.
disadvantage.
Yeah.
Is it though? Because you could also just not have sex.
You
The
can't get an
corner case-
abortion, but children can go get a gender change at 12 with a
Feels
parent
like you're
at
very
15
Got him! Ooh.
Fixated on that.
without consent.
That's
It
not
feels,
true.
It feels like you're
That very much is true.
very
as someone
fixated
who
on
went-
that.
I know the
fluidity.
laws as well.
I went through this.
Oh, I went through this and probably didn't read much and didn't know much and just listened to people who affirmed me because that's all I care about. But you, as someone who actually sat down and read the information and tried to understand, I must know better than you. Yeah, they can just close their legs. That's it. That's simple. And Tubi says some women don't have sex by choice. Anyone can do that. I'm not saying don't have sex at all, but use birth control. Use a condom. And while you're doing it, pick somebody who maybe, if those contraception options don't work, then you're not in, it doesn't ruin your life to be having a child with this person. Hook says, genuinely, the most easy to discern part of your body you need to look at to determine sex is the face. Yeah, I mean, just the facial structure of men and women are so very different. And you might have even men with softer features and women with sharper features that still look like their own gender, because I mean, I don't know if I could put my finger on it, but the differences are clear, as Kluk is saying.
No, in some states you can, and in Thailand you can go at 16 and get your everything cut off.
Guys, it's less than 5%.
I know.
Now, less than 5% now. This is an argument that I hear so often. Oh, it's just this, it's just that, it's just that. Yes, but you are pushing this. So it starts at 0%, and now we're up to 5%. That's not the direction we want to be going in.
It's such a small subset of the population.
But you can't say that about, it does matter though. When you have a child, you're not a
That's
parent.
between the parent and the child.
Can I ask you a question, though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership...
that's a good thing.
I know.
This is another one. I have never been in control of anything. Me being a man and sharing the gender with other individuals who have had power now or throughout history has nothing to do with my lived experience. This is such a stupid argument. Well, men do this, and so even though neither of us have done that, then I should do it because... What?
It's weird coming from me, but I do want to know, it doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
I don't feel bummed out because I know that if I want to pursue something that I want to do, I have every capability to do it in this country.
Even though it's less likely, if she specifically or any specific woman wanted to be the president, then based on their merit, we would likely vote them in. Now, sure, I will say that probably a lot of people are like, I don't care what she says, I'm not voting for her. Fine. I'll give you that. But there is nothing stopping you from running and doing things and creating the platform and the reputation and the policies themselves that actually would get you there. Where's that coming through? Hold on, it said, do people really aspire to be president? Apparently they do. I don't know who these people are or what their life goals are or what they think is going to bring them happiness, but apparently people still do. To be said, contraceptive is a thing you would take if you were expecting to have sex. If you are forced, you probably weren't expected to, and therefore probably couldn't have made that decision. Correct. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who have chosen to have sex.
I don't feel bummed out. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
No,
I'm feeling a lot of
too.
emotions
Men
right
can be
now.
impulsive.
I'm not saying that men can't be emotional.
Like we had a president who would literally just
And now
go
we
on
have
Twitter
president
every day.
The arguments about how men and women are not going to work very well here because these women are logical and rational, while these men are very feminine and emotional. Because every time I see a Russian model with a jawline sharper than a razor because of genetics, it still looks like a woman. Every trans woman looks like a poorly photoshopped IRL social media filter. Oh no!
Hey, every second.
Wait, one person so she can hear us.
To be logical and to be sound is not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own psychology.
The left and right brained, it
That's
actually
just
is though.
false.
That's not false. It's not
Come on.
Hold on, I'm going to back that up in a second. But yeah, we do have the Plan B, the day after pill, or the morning after pill, as they call it. And that's not contraception. That's not something you should be using on any regular basis. The same way you shouldn't be using porridge as a form of birth control. But yes, if that happens, then what 2B was talking about, then that is an option. We're not. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's 98%. You can fact check me on that, but 98% of those procedures have nothing to do with our pay or, same family, you know what I mean? 98%. So we can have a conversation about the edge cases if you want to have a conversation about the edge cases. But we have to agree that the majority of what we're talking about has nothing to do with that. Luke said, men are emotional. It's just our emotions are more internal and unstated. Well, I mean, definitely men are emotional. I was looking back and see emotion as emotional. So not as emotional, but absolutely, men are emotional. And yeah, that's it. That's exactly it, David. People are emotional in general. People. It's whether it affects our better judgment when it becomes it's whether it affects our better judgment when it becomes the problem. Well said. All right, I missed this.
So she can hear us.
To be logical and to be sound is not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own psychology.
The left and right brain, it
That's just
actually
false.
is, though.
That's
That's
just
not
false.
false. It's not
Come
false.
on, man.
It
Come
is
on,
not
really?
false.
What did she was literally saying the thing that I was saying as I was saying. I missed her saying it because I was saying it. These men are extremely emotional, and these women are extremely logical. I have no idea how this is going to play out.
Really?
No, your question about leadership, I think, is a very poignant question because a lot of people are asking that. Why don't we see more female presidents? Why don't we see more female CEOs or Fortune 500 companies?
Because women don't want to do that. As who just said it? David said, most of us don't aspire to be president.
And again, it goes back to those gender differences. There will be women who will be exceptions to the generalized rule of what it means to be feminine, and those women you will see succeed in extreme leadership. But we should also discuss what the conditions of extreme leadership are. We're talking 80-hour work weeks, subscribing yourself to your career and nothing else.
Going family,
and
children.
Psychologically and biologically, women tend to lean in the direction of not making those choices for themselves, while men are highly competitive, they are highly analytical, systematic, they're willing to put in that time and
Maybe not these guys, but
take extreme measures to gain career status.
Exactly.
But in an
Perfectly
egalitarian
said.
society, it's about having that choice to make that decision.
who doesn't have that choice? How is that a response to what she just said? How is that a response to what she just said?
And that's what feminism
but we
is about.
do,
It's
but
about
we already
Exactly.
have that choice.
We
We
do have that
If I want to go
But
own
it's
my own
being-
company, I
it's being
can.
restricted.
Like I said in the beginning,
It's being restricted by who? Who's restricting it? In what? That's just a saying things.
we've all agreed that the beginning of feminism was going in the right
Humanizing
direction.
women,
It
right?
was humanizing women. It was making them equal to men. It was giving us the same opportunities so that we can go vote, so that I can go get a job, so that I can drive a car. Like
She can
there's
run for
other
president.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you get into the weeds, it was always there was always an air of female supremacy in it, but it's certainly like that's understandable based on how society was. But then you won. Klug says, we don't see more female presidents or Fortune 500 CEOs because the majority of people who are sociopathic and opportunistic enough to survive that cutthroat environment is men fiending for success. Well said. Oh, Klug is on fire tonight. Exactly. Women don't want, most people don't want to do this. Most people in general don't want to do this. But the people who are going to have the characteristics that would want to do this are more likely to be men. That's it. Hey, we got Dr. Evil Genius in the building. Welcome to the party. Says male feminists can't stop proving why even feminist women don't respect them. Yep, exactly. Welcome to the party.
If she
countries
wants.
that I know that we weren't talking about other countries, but if you want to talk about feminism, go protect the women who get beat up for driving a car in other countries.
Men are falling behind in society.
I mean, that's okay. Like it's this isn't even a question. The fact is that in any metric you want to look at, whether it's income or college degrees or anything like that, men are the trend is going down for men and up for women. That's just.
I just think, I mean, we
fact.
have amazing men here today. It's an
Oh,
honor
thank
to
you.
be on this
You
panel
barely
with
know
you, to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men are not able to be men anymore because of the feminists modern feminist propaganda. I
Yep.
coach men in my practice and they tell me like, I don't even know what I can do on a date anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I going to get in trouble for this now? Like, I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around her waist, but maybe that's going to, I'm going to be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous.
I bet you they're going to say something along the lines of, I don't know how to word this. Like, I don't know. I lost it. Got you.
Be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what you said.
Please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is that I bet you they go to, well, that's because men are held down and da-da-da-da-da-da. No. It's because feminism has deemed being a man toxic. So in order to fit in with society, you do have to repress yourself. That is not the patriarchy. That is feminism. Tabi says, how often do women apply for the job as president anyway? Yeah, I mean, we had Hillary Clinton, and here I sit as me. You guys know me. I voted for that woman. I'm not proud of it, but I voted for that woman. I would have happily voted for Tulsi. I mean, it's such a stupid face value complaint. That's all it is. Dr. Evil says the plastic anti-feminist is in part responsible, because she's the only one speaking up now. She let the loud minority take over for long enough for her preferences to disappear. Good point. And I mean, you're definitely correct, but I think the messaging of the feminists that came before her was so strong that it probably wasn't plastic. It probably wasn't until she was a bit older that she realized that she herself was under the same feminist bullshit. But great point. I'm gonna start that. Klug says, if you ask the average woman, the goal is to get with a rich man who can provide and protect him. That doesn't mean they want douchebags either. It just means they want a good man. I think, I think the speaking of the Red Pill podcast, I think the notion of women wanting only a six-figure guy and only this and only that has been blown out of proportion a little bit, because we know that even though the marriage rates are going down by a lot, it's like those are the women who want to go on podcasts like that. So it's definitely true, but you have to balance that with, remember what you're seeing is sensationalized media a lot of the time. But you are correct, sir. Of course, he had to say the P word, the patriarchy.
Part of where I'm coming from with this is I'm trans. So I was born female. Now I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am.
Okay, and how are you going to feel about feminism and being a man and all of that in 10 years? Do you know? None of us do. Because you are a social experiment.
And be a man.
And no disrespect to your process. I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go through, but I see a woman still. I feel feminine energy from you.
That's all right. I totally
so when you
respect
say
that.
you're a man, then it's like, I don't see.
Are you though? Oh man, that was brutal. Oh man. Yeah, Klug said the same thing. Still telling that this is a woman. Exactly. Dr. Virginia says, I've seen enough women reject financially secure good men and give the 5,000. That's what I call it. The to the a-hole who offer them nothing but hard dick and bubble gum. Oh my goodness. She is indeed a plastic savage.
See that.
The way I think about it is more like about individual choice and individual freedom. And if I want to say that I have feminine energy and people view me as masculine or vice versa, then that's their problem. That's not my problem. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to.
But that's a very dangerous society.
That's not how feminism started, though. Yeah, we went.
To me says, wait, Hillary actually won the popular vote. So where the system's set up to where the majority wins, then she wouldn't have been president. Or she would have been president. Well, it's a good thing we got the Electoral College. Let's go. David says, so that woman earlier said we shouldn't include trans in the discussion of feminism. I wonder how she feel, like the trans person? I mean, you're not a woman. You're not a female. What's the root of feminism? Female.
Went from, you know, wanting equal rights for women and equality for women, and now it's
Humanizing
kind of
women, right?
humanizing women,
Yes.
making it to where I think we all agree, you know, women now are equal to men. And with like third and fourth wave feminism, especially fourth wave feminism, it's kind of turned into individuality, like you said.
Doesn't take.
I just want to say that I'm looking at the panel here, and I'm a dude, so I'm always whatever. And she is not dressed in any provocative way. She's extremely cute. She's extremely, dressed modestly. She's intelligent. She's engaging. I'm way more attracted to her than I am any of the other women. Just take that for what you will. And to just come back to what to be said, I'm very glad that Hillary never became president. But again, because that's Hillary Clinton, not because she's a woman. David said, so the point that the transition was making about men can't express masculinity because of the patriarchy, then why did you choose to change your body? For clout, for acceptance, for attention. You can't treat these people with logic because they don't have any. Who says the entire idea of equality in any way is completely bunk anyway. I mean, yes, nothing is always going to be the same, but we talk about equality of opportunity. We always just want to give the best approximation to equal opportunity that we can. We are different people. We live in different places. We come from different parents. We have different biological, things, characteristics. So it's never going to be completely the same, nor would we want it that way. But we want to try to at least have a level playing field. Evil says, woman puts on men's clothes and stops washing her face. A man. Yeah, Dan, on point. The logic is not there. The logic is not there. It's not about that.
Take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to. I don't need some.
Okay, great. So then we don't need trans anything because you can be a man and just act however you want. And if you're super feminine, like you are, nobody here is saying, oh, you look like a woman. Oh, you are a woman. Or he's not saying, I feel like I need to be a woman. He's just a very effeminate man. And all right, I don't want to hang out with him, but fair enough. Equal opportunity to mutilate our genitals. Apparently, that's what they want.
Somebody like Andrew Tate to be like, you're not a man unless you do this. I also don't need a woman to come up and be like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. And it's the same with femininity. I'm not going to tell you how to be a woman. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
Did you have a point? Like, cool story, bro.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like you have a daughter. Do
Yeah.
you really want to be guided by the ambiguous, define yourself as however you want to define yourself, and for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn themselves back and say there's a lot of dissatisfaction when the root of the problem wasn't the gender, it was everything
let's
else.
There's actually
slow down,
very,
though.
very
I
low
feel like
I looked
rates
at the
of
percentages.
detransitioning, but that's
I looked
not
at
Low rates of detransitioning now. Same argument as the 5%. Now. The whole point is that you are pushing this. It went from 0%, and now it's up to 5%. And whatever number he just said about detransitioners, it started at 0% because nobody was transitioning. And the more you do it, the more detransitioners there's going to be. You know, Tim Pool talks about an interesting thing about numbers and statistics. So let's say that the new iPhone comes out. And I'm stealing this directly from Tim Pool, so thank you for that thought. He'll say, let's say they come out with a new iPhone, right? And they send out 1 million iPhones. And 1% of they sent out, they sent out 1 million iPhones, and 1% of those iPhones don't work. How much are you actually going to hear about that? A bunch of celebrities is, over here, but, it's not really a big thing. Now, if everybody has an iPhone, and there's 300 million, and 1% of them are not working. Well, now you have millions of people who don't have working phones. Just change phone to genitals, and you got the argument right there. Kluk says, I hate when people talk with this mumble throat rumbling because they can't speak up. Because he's not a real man. So dang, is this a combo so good we can't touch the like?
That's also a minority of the population.
Feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
well, because there's so much data to support.
Can you repeat what's the main question?
Do you want your daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man, and that she doesn't need a man? And that it's better off for her to be alone and put her career first and not have children.
I think it's more likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter...
It's more likely than not that she'll follow a conventional path. What are you basing that on? You would be the father. It's not like some roll of the dice. You have a direct input. Hey, we got Lefty Lucy in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. This generation is bat-ish stupid. I mean, I gotta tell you, it's not just one generation. It's Gen Z. It's definitely millennials, and there's a lot of Gen Xers in there too. I mean, you know, the boomers got their own problems, just not with this stuff. But welcome to the party. Yeah, this generation, it's everybody alive today who is under 50 is insane. Dr. We just said you're right. Too much trying to base society's rules on the extreme outliers. Yep. Kluk said, not gonna lie, it'd be smart business practice for Apple to give out free iPhones like candy just to make bank on the maintenance. That's a good point. That's a good point, because you know they're selling you that just because it's gonna it's gonna break, and you're gonna need, you know, Apple Care, and you're gonna need new headphones from the last model of the phone. Not bad. Not a bad idea.
Grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like, great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like, we would navigate that together. But that, to me, it doesn't scare me. And I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad, because
that
it's
is
very,
sad.
my...
That's very... Oh, we got Dan Jensen in the building. Oh my goodness, no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. And as you know, that is correct. We feed Morty with every single super chat. Here you go, bud. Eat it up. Yeah, you saw he was... Thank you, Dan. Welcome to the party.
My son, I encourage...
I want to back this up a sec. That seemed like...
for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like, we would navigate that together. But that, to me, it doesn't scare me. And
what does that mean? We would navigate that together. That's coming from pure ignorance. That's coming from having no idea what that situation would be. And so, like, yeah, I mean, we would get through it. What does that mean? You don't. You're just talking out of your ass.
I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad, because it's because my son, I encourage him. I say, you are to be, and I really don't care the backlash. You're supposed to be attracted to women. And
Isn't that a lot of pressure?
And
no, that is a lot of pressure.
And I ask him,
but what if he's not?
That is a good point. I will give him that, because I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think gay people are real. I think it is real to be born gay. So I wouldn't say you're supposed to. Like, I would even be happy saying it's normal. It's average. It's what, you know, is typical. But as we were just saying, you don't have to, if that's not the case, and you do end up liking other boys, then you don't have to chop your dick off. Kluk, maybe you're the dudes. If you didn't even know, if you didn't notice, come on, man. Come on.
Because life for transgender individuals, and my son's African American as well, is very freaking hard. I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry.
You can.
It's very hard. Do you know this to be true?
Asking people or putting pressure on your son or putting pressure on my daughter to not...
I just tell them.
Okay, but to not be their...
Again, that is just tell that is putting pressure on
true self. If that's truly how they feel,
But
it feels like that would be...
They're not their true self.
This, like,
Thank you.
That's this way. It's
Thank
society has influenced everybody to be like,
so often
you know.
When you say
So Cook says gay people are real, but how many people are just prawn addicted and bored of normal straight sex? I don't know about that one, bro. I don't know about that. I mean, I've heard gay for the stay in prison, but I don't know many people who are out there who can just get, girls all the time and they're just like, meh. I mean, unless you're talking about like Bilderberg, like Epstein stuff, that, yeah. But other than that, I don't know. The average age someone gets exposed to those videos nowadays is like 9, 8. Wow, that is ridiculous. That is sad. That is very, very sad. Jubilee says he means he would be supportive of whatever decisions and difficulties would be faced with an advocate saying, we will navigate this together. I understand what the words mean, to be. That's not what I was confused about. I'm asking him, what does when he says we're going to navigate this together, what are the actions? What are the words? What are the feelings? What are the things that are going to come along with that? And he doesn't know. So you don't know that you would be able to navigate it. That's the point. You don't know. Agree with Lucy. It is bad parenting. Parrington? You can read it. Yeah, like seriously.
I can identify, I can be whatever I want. If I want to say, I'm Beyonce today, I can now just be Beyonce.
But do you
right?
actually believe that?
Does it matter? Are you questioning my gender? How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
I said I identify as Beyonce, and if you don't accept that, then you're a bigot. End of story.
No, I don't think you believe
Can we talk
it.
about the prompt?
Yeah, let's roll
Okay,
back.
so
prompts
here-
about
here's the
men
other-
falling behind.
Here's the other thing. Men are falling behind. Is it because of feminism, or is there socioeconomic factors that we're not looking at?
Well,
Two things can be true at the same time, because there absolutely are socioeconomic issues. But if it's a socioeconomic issue, then it would also equally affect women. So I don't really know where you're going with that. Evil says you can't navigate someone else's struggles. Sounds like some narcissistic tendencies to me. I don't know about that. When we're talking about a parent and a child, I do think you absolutely have to help navigate your children through whatever difficulties they have. So I mean, if he was talking about like a friend or something, or even a cousin, then I would be 100% with you. But I would hope that regardless of even your son with his first girlfriend, I would hope that you would want to help navigate him through those struggles as well, because that's not easy either. Hey, we got Veronica H in the building. Veronica NH, excuse me. Says, here's what's really concerning. All right. Men who wake up and want to be a woman and decides to be in the same bathroom as my daughter, and then they'll claim to be a lesbian liking women and still have their male genitalia. That is very concerning to a lot of people. And it's okay that that is concerning to you. They, the trans activists and the allies, and they want to make you feel like being concerned about this is something wrong, is bigoted, when it's just rational. That's it. That's it. It's just rational. Who says the only struggles someone looking from the outside in can see is your present ones. People tend to monopolize their own experiences and attribute it to life as a whole, and it needs to stop. Fair enough. Good point. Good point. Yeah, I think, again, in general, both you and Evil, I think you guys are, if this was a, just a general discussion, it would be, spot on. I think you guys are right, but I think this is an exception. Dealing with your own children is a little bit of an exception. We want parents to be involved and help them through all this stuff.
Well, how do we
Because
define
no.
falling behind?
Let's
yeah,
look,
what do you see as falling behind?
Making less money per there's something with money. I know it's the rates. I think it's the average rate or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. Certainly the college enrollment, the number of degrees. I mean, falling behind in those areas specifically. Veronica said, well, a little girl already got R-paid in school by a little boy that decided he was a girl that day, and the school excused it. Like I'm saying, it's 5% now. But what about next year? What about 5 years? That is not an argument. This will keep happening. And again, to tie it back into the iPhone argument, that if this is a one-off occasion, it's very easy for the school to just excuse it. But the more trans people there are, the more this is going to happen. Not because of the fact that they are trans, but because predators can use the sensibilities and sensitivities that we have as a society towards the LGBT community and hide their degeneracy. David said, worrying about the safety of your kids over the feelings of an irrational person sounds sort of misogynistic to me. Wait, worrying about the safety of your kids over the feelings of an irrational person sounds sort of misogynistic. I don't get it. I think the safety of your kids would be paramount. No? Are you telling me? I don't get it. Did I miss it? Okay, it was a joke. I was like, really? That sounds kind of backwards. I was like, what are you doing here? All right. Klug says, falling behind is the lack of self-respect and confidence a man can feel in a day-to-day life because a woman or a class with political power can ruin his life at any time for any reason. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what it's like being back here trying to read this shit. Get off my ass.
It's falling behind. So people in America, not just men, everybody is getting poor. This has nothing to do with
Well, that's
feminism.
not true.
No,
that's a mental state.
No,
That's
it's not true.
a mentality.
This is economic data. We're
I'm
falling.
Okay, so how come that's not the patriarchy? If it's everybody, then how come that's not the patriarchy? So whenever something doesn't work in your favor, it's because of the patriarchy. But if something is hurting everybody, then like what? See, I'm not the only one. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you.
Getting
behind
that.
Well,
argument.
you can blame your president
And-
for that.
Okay,
And
back
the other
to the
thing
prompt.
is, what do you define as masculinity? It can be subjective
Tell
from
us-
culture
tell-
to culture.
what do you-
No. I'm good on her. I want to hear what he has to say first, because well, how do you define masculinity? No, just a general grouping of characteristics that are usually found in men and are used to push our society forward.
Do you define
I
masculinity?
think masculinity is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be this objective
How-
thing where it's like, oh, you're masculine, you're
How
not.
is
Like,
it-
Okay, I want it to be masculinity. And for me, masculinity is walking on your hands everywhere. That's what I want it to be. What?
Stupid.
Everyone is getting poorer because our money supply looks like the GTA Online session where one dude is hacking his bank account to get 99 million. Yeah, nothing to do with men or masculinity or anything, and directly at least contributed to by feminist ideology. Swit says, the things our country fights for today is an utter joke. My dream is to one day have a family. Me too. And I don't want to have to take my wife, my possible future daughter out in the chance that they may go to the bathroom and get paid by a man who says he feels like a woman. So, I mean, to kind of counter what we were saying before, it's not like this is happening all over the place. The fact is, we want to prevent that from being the world that you and your family would live in. That's not the world we live in right now. And I mean, honestly, I don't really know what would happen in the future. I don't have a fucking crystal ball. But it certainly will not get better following this kind of stuff. To be said, I think it's rainbow-colored unicorns. Shania Twain style. Well, she was the one that did the Monday Night Football, right? The Sunday Night Football. That was her, right? Am I getting that wrong? Evil said, women have all the degrees, but men still make more because we work more in jobs that actually matter to society. Men falling behind in BS isn't the worst thing ever. Good point. Because men are definitely falling behind. In what areas? And I think Evil is on point here.
so it could be different from our society to another society. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole provider are not seen
But
as
are we
masculine.
talking about other countries, or are we talking about the
But
U.S.?
even
right
here,
now?
actually, even here, there are people who will say that's demasculating for a man to make less money than his wife.
I appreciate everything everyone's saying. I do want to talk about the prompt. When I heard the prompt and I heard that, I thought about men falling behind, I thought more like mental health, like suicide is more common
Oh,
with
we're gonna go
men.
here.
No,
Love
but it's
this one.
true.
Well, wait a minute. If your whole thing, if you're a feminist and you're citing the real statistic that 1 in 4 self-deletions are men, and then plastic boobs over here, I'm very confused because she should be like, exactly. That's why it shouldn't be okay to say kill all men. Well, this is
Like
interesting.
mental health, like suicide is more common
Oh, we're
with
gonna
men.
go here.
No,
Love
but it's
this one.
true. Like men
But it's such a
commit suicide
it's
at
not
higher
a cop out. Like
rates.
I'm not saying mental health isn't an issue. That it is an issue, and obviously a lot of men are experiencing a lot of pressure.
Have you heard like the term death of despair?
Men are committing suicide more. Men are
Right.
dying from.
It says the disease of despair are 3 classes of behavior related medical conditions that increase in groups of people who experience despair due to a sense that their long-term social and economic prospects are bleak.
From alcohol-related illnesses more, and they're also dying from drug abuse and drug overdose more.
Correct.
And that's an increasing trend in society.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
see
true. It
educational
is
gaps.
true.
No, there's
So I'm confused why the anti-feminists are like brushing that off. That's like score 1 for you guys. And why the male feminist is bringing that up as if that's a point towards feminism. What is going on?
no denying that like young men are abandoning colleges at a
Good.
rapid,
Good.
Yeah,
rapid
it's a
rate.
lot of
Good.
pressure to be a man.
They're also
Like,
far
they're-
lonelier than women are
Yep,
right now.
yep.
Yeah,
not
women
so
are the
partners.
least
Hold on,
happiest.
can I finish my point? Sorry. I'm like, don't let me lose my train of thought. They're abandoning colleges. Women make up, they enroll in college at a 60% rate. Women are earning more than men nowadays, right? So
I
Yeah,
don't agree.
See, I thought that was a thing. I don't know exactly how the numbers plan out, but I think the averages of men are going down while the averages of women are going up. I think that's what it is. Where's Harley? We need a resident fact
no,
checker.
that is
hold on,
true.
hold on, hold
We
on.
can get to the wage gap.
It's about enrollment.
get
So
to
are
the
they
league.
having other jobs? Yeah, probably. But I'm saying like men are not going to these institutions. Why?
When you're saying lack of enrollment, there's more entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurial space than ever before in history. So I believe a lot of people are opting out of college as we had to
Mhm.
pursue their venture. So that could be part of the reason why the enrollment has
Well,
declined.
Can I just go
The
back to a point that you
age-
said really quick,
Yeah.
where
go
you
ahead.
talked about
Yeah.
like the mental health of men and how
Me?
the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stigmatization
Mhm.
of men addressing their mental health.
Yeah.
What system are we in that
Sure.
makes it so that men
He's going back to the
have this
patriarchy.
big stigma around our mental health where we can't
Yeah.
talk about it and the suicide
Ah.
rate goes up?
So I'll
It's a feministic, gynocentric system. Right?
We are in a patriarchal system.
No,
hold
that-
on.
Dr. Vujina says maybe the anti-feminist wants to go back to the days where men threw their lives away for the sake of women without a thought of their own interests. That's one thing you got to understand about, even though they are anti-feminists, they are still women. At the end of the day, they are still women.
Let me
That
tell you.
is
Let me
the-
tell you.
Those
So
are
the
those are the
way
bounds we are within currently.
there's a lot
that's
of
toxic
Can I have
masculinity.
Mason complete his point? I'll encourage you to let the other person finish the point, and then, of course, you can take it forward, but let them talk.
Just
The
real
same
quick,
thing.
the systemic structures we are in
Yes.
are patriarchy. That is what has caused men to have this massive stigma around mental health.
So I would say, okay, can you, the same way the other person brought up masculinity, I would say, okay, can you define for me what you mean by patriarchy?
Sure.
Where we don't feel empowered to reach out. Men tend to not go to therapy. That leads to suicide. That leads to all of these big things. That's not caused by feminism. That was happening well before the
So,
feminist
hold
movement
on.
came into these new
Let him
waves.
finish. There's a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and economists, professors, all these people coming out saying that the actual psychology department is feminized.
And as somebody who went to school in from 2008 to 2012 at a private university in psychology, it was so hyper feminized. I mean, the main thing was that there wasn't any freaking dudes there. It was like me and like 4 other dudes in the entire psychology program. And the rest was these weird women. To think that that doesn't affect how these courses are built and then how the work is done in the real world, we already see from, last year from What is a Woman, we've seen these MD, PhD doctors are all about gender affirming care. That's the medical institution. And you're going to tell me that that's not, that's completely, unfettered and unaffected by feminism? Come on. Luke says, I don't give an issue about stigmas about mental health. I care about the fact that young men go home from work to empty houses and no hope for that to change because bad women have made it infeasible. I'm going to disagree with you there, buddy, because there absolutely is something that they can do about it. The idea that again, I agree with you here. Just because the women are first of all, there are good women out there. You just don't see them on places like this because they're at home doing normal stuff. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, so we go back to here. I can't remember if I go home, empty houses, and no hope for that to change. If there's no hope for that to change, it's not because of women. It's not because of women. That may be a very big part of why they don't feel hope. But the ability to change that has nothing to do with women. That has to do with the feminization of society and men feeling that way about themselves. I feel bad for them too, but we have to be precise. It's not women specifically. It's the culture of not allowing men to exhibit healthy masculinity and just calling healthy behaviors that are masculine toxic masculinity.
I know.
I'm processing what you're saying.
The psychology
It's weird, but the
department?
way that everything's processed is for women. So women and men process information differently.
All right, so this says between 95 and 2015, the number of women within the academic psychology workforce more than doubled, an increase of 126%, and the representation increased from 37 to 53%. That's the American Psychological Association. Feminized. Oh, there we go. Dr. Evil agrees with Kluk, but Lutsch's analysis is accurate. There's a disconnect between the perception created by social media and the quiet reality Lutsch speaks of. Yeah, I mean, and I get you, Kluk. I totally understand where you're coming from, and you are absolutely right about how that overarching ideology of feminism does turn women into the types of women that we see. But you can't blame the women for if you're a dude who has a shitty job, or you're a dude who doesn't work out, or you're a dude who doesn't eat well, or you can't blame that on women. You can't blame that on women. You have everything in your power to be better. And you know what happens when you get better? The ladies come around.
Like men are like this in their brain, women are, it's all over. And like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's
It
left
means
brain,
What does that mean?
right
that
brain.
when you
I wish it was
process
that
like
simple.
men need to solve the problem
Correct.
before they can process the emotion.
Women are
Women
emotional.
react
My
on
wing
emotion.
woman.
all
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
it.
But so women have a tendency, not a tendency, they do better with talk therapy. That doesn't always work for men.
Mm-hmm.
Men do better when they are kind of working
Doing
with a coach
something.
or
Yep.
somebody that's going to be like, this is what you have to do, and then come
Like
back
massive
see how you
action
did.
That's why
steps.
men
Exactly. Massive action steps. So I don't know if that's like a coined term, but the idea of whether you're going to go to a personal trainer or you're going to go to a dojo and learn jujitsu or whatever, it's getting that stuff out through physically doing stuff. Action. And you may not need to intellectualize everything as long as you can work that out in a healthy way. But everything that is healthy for men has been deemed toxic. Because I'm not really talking about social media or even how much women acting here, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you're not wrong by any means. You're not wrong. It's just we gotta be precise. Evil says Kluk is right about this though. Historically, men didn't have a top 5% physique and 10% earning rate to find a wife in the past. That radical shift has to be acknowledged. Absolutely. And I think that's more what you're talking about, is that there is the difference that you're talking about is there. I just don't want to specifically blame individual women for what an individual man is or is not doing. Kluk says, I mean, more like how 18 to 21 have body counts past 10 already. Yeah. Exactly. Lefty Lucy, actions speak louder than words. Hey, we got indie film in the building. What is good? What is good? You missed an hour. Oh, it has been an hour already. yeah, just stick with us. It's another Jubilee middle ground episode. It's male feminist versus women, female anti-feminist. And you can imagine what kind of stuff they're talking about. So stick around with us, brother.
Mentors
So-
work. That's why men
He
need.
had a thought though. Can we let
Yeah.
him finish his
So-
thought?
I lo- Does anybody know what I'm laughing at? Let me play it again. Let me see if anybody knows what I'm laughing at.
It's going to be like, this is what you have to do,
Hold on.
and then come
Like
back
massive
see how you
action
did.
That's why
steps.
mentors
So-
Okay. Does anybody know what I'm laughing at here?
work. That's why men need.
He had a thought though. Can we let him finish his
So-
thought?
Okay, fine.
I love how it's the women who are sticking up for the men, the feminists. Like, assert yourself. Be a man. You changed everything else about yourself to be a man. How about act like one? See, I got the sarcasm on that one.
The same problems with the military, a lot of the suicide rate. Even though there is therapy services, they're actually actively discouraged. And it's because of this
Anyone in the military can speak to that?
masculine energy in the military, because it is still, even to this day, a very ultra masculine institution.
Mhm.
And there's these negative energies saying like, hey, no, you shouldn't like go talk. That's what these fucking do.
But that's
But-
toxic
Well, it's
masculinity.
interesting
Yes.
Facts. That is not masculinity. Toxic masculinity is not masculinity. Being so out of touch with reality to say that, oh, just get over it, is a realistic way to deal with actual life problems is not masculinity. That's just not what that is.
But it
That's
comes
not
from
patriarchy.
it comes from a
There's a
place of
difference.
no, it comes from a place where it's like, oh, that's not what men do. Just suck it up and push on. And that's why a lot of these guys end up killing themselves.
But what branch were you in? Can I ask?
I was in the army. I
Okay.
was
So you're an athlete, correct? And
Yes.
in the military, what is in the military that makes everything work within the military? It's a structure, right?
yes, it's a structure.
It's a system, right? Who runs the military? Who is at the very top of the command?
Oh, the commander in chief, the
Correct.
president of the United States. Couple hundred
But
years.
I'm making
I love how he has no idea where she's going.
a point here. So there's one person at the very top. Even if you take the commander in chief away, there's your general, right? Then there's lieutenant general, there's
I like that.
corporal, and I
I
forget
like that.
Don't hate me. There's all those privates, etc. There's a system.
Mm-hmm.
One person is at the top of that system, and he has supporting members underneath him, all the way down to private.
Who knows
And
where
that's
she's
what
going?
patriarchy was. Quote, patriarchy was designed. It's a system of one person taking a leadership position, and they make decisions for the greater good.
Stupid.
That's what a patriarchy is. Lefty Lucy says men want to solve things, not sit around talking about a subject. It's not a bad thing. If men and women thought and felt the same, the world would be a very boring place. Facts. And, again, I am somebody who I don't necessarily consider myself ultra, well, I'm definitely not ultra masculine, but I don't consider myself like effeminate or anything, but I like talking things out. I like having discussions. That's why I sit here for hours and hours and hours with you guys. And then we go over to Discord and I stay hours out. But none of that has anything to do with patriarchy. The fact that I'm comfortable enough with myself to tell you that I like talking, and when I did do talk therapy, it did help me a lot. That is masculinity. The confidence in myself to not give a flying. Did we already curse? I think so. But you know what I'm saying about what anybody thinks about that. And yeah, I like this is our version of semantic obfuscation. If they want to take things that are not masculine and attach masculinity to it by tacking on toxic, and we could just take their behavior and put our own spin on it. Goes on to say, I wonder if Lex was ever going to go there, reading his personal masculinity. Klug says, actively discouraged from therapy in the military? Since when? They're talking about a mentality of just suck it up and compartmentalize it, but don't realize that's what people do to stay alive. Yeah, I mean, they have, I know that the services, it's the government, so VA services aren't great, but it's very much encouraged to go and get help. Goes on to say, if you fell apart at everything, you're the first to go in the military because that's a liability. Oof. Well said.
Utilitarianism of all, meaning the family unit.
That's not really what
That-
patriarchy.
Okay, then what does it mean?
And actually, that's
It
that's
is.
a
I
very,
looked
that's,
up the
that's a
definition,
very
actually.
that's actually a very
I
ideal
literally
one.
looked it up yesterday.
No, you're good.
Again, if you are going to say that you are wrong about this stated fact, then the assumption should be that no, here is the correct thing to say.
I really
lost.
need the male feminists also to respond because I
The Indian woman who's the producer has to stick up for all the men because they can't nut up against these women. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Hey, we got Celibate Scorpion in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Why don't they talk about toxic feminism? Because it's cheered. It's in the same way that Dr. Evil is saying it's pseudo-masculinity. Toxic feminism is pseudo-femininity. It's the idea of acting like other women act, but it's not feminine behavior. And you know, exactly. I mean, Eagle says, I'm sure there are no safe spaces in Russia's gulags if an American soldier was captured. Nope. So that's exactly why most World War II vets never told us stories about the war. Compartmentalized.
feel like they've spoken 20%. Once they're done with their thought, feel free to interrupt, but let them finish a sentence.
Okay, I want to talk.
Okay, I want to talk.
I'm gonna talk. I mean, I do think men are falling behind. I feel like the world is just changing in a way where men don't have like a natural place to fit in, or it's not as intuitive as it used to be.
Yep.
And I think men are alone. I heard you throw out the word loneliness, and that does feel true. I just don't think that feminism did that. I just think like the world is changing.
What you said really resonated with me when we define falling behind. What I think about with men is that high suicide rate, that likeliness.
Stop saying that word.
Towards violence and aggression.
Come on, Amala, you're a YouTube person. You know we're gonna be reacting to this stuff. Come on, say self-deletion.
Think about loneliness and not being in relationships with which young men are struggling with a lot right now, and where I feel finding common ground and feminism does get right in a sense is that we should expand our horizons as far as how we view masculinity. Men should be able to cry, they should be able to be vulnerable, and that's something that we need to access. But also, these men who are feeling disillusioned with the world right now, they are seeking out male figures. We've seen, you know, the rise of the Jordan Petersons or some of the personalities at the Daily Wire or the Andrew Tates. They are seeking out somebody who's telling them, I want you to access those masculine traits and harness them in a way.
So if you don't want the Daily Wire or Andrew Tate to be the person who is saying those things, then it's on you to spread that message in a more palatable way. Because men need that. So if you're not willing to stand up and say this is what masculinity should be, then you have no place telling other people who are trying to help young men that is right or wrong or anything else. David Benner said the concept of safe spaces on campus, for example, is weird to me. Isn't that saying that the school is inherently non-inclusive and the space isn't really safe at all? That is a very good point. That's a very good point. Because if this is the safe space, then the rest of the campus can't be safe. I mean, when you break any of this stuff down, it never makes sense. It is all meant to be ephemeral and fluid so that you can just fit it in whatever the conversation you're having, whatever the issue you're fighting for, whatever the person that you're fighting against. You can just fit it to mold. Semantic obfuscation. Eagle says, men should be allowed to cry and be vulnerable in private. Yes, because we don't want men, just crying all over the place. But we want men to be able to be stoic when maybe they're not feeling great, and then feel comfortable to tap into that when the time is appropriate. It's not complicated. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed about this. So Scorpion said, is that Torsia? Why on earth is that girl dressed like that? Who? I'm not familiar with the name. Which one? The big boobs or the race car girl? Hook says, if it were completely based on merit, colleges would be an all Asian safe space. Good one. It's weird they pick these ladies to represent right-wing women. So that's not what this is. It's male feminists versus female anti-feminists. So it's not about right wing. It's not about politics at all. Specifically, it's about the culture and specifically feminism.
I would say Jordan Peterson's probably a more healthy role model for men than, say, an Andrew Tate. But men are going towards these more aggressive, masculinized traits and seeking out men that are trying to harness that for them.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. Think about any other taboo. If you make it taboo to just be a man, then the more taboo that is, the more extreme the pushback is going to be. If we just allow men to be normal men, and also, if you want to just be a very effeminate man, then there's no reason for toxic masculinity, real, fake, or otherwise, to have a place that people would want to enact. You've created the problem that you hate, which is exactly what feminism is for. It's just perpetuating its own message. Oh yeah, got that one all right.
I thought you made a really great point that I totally agree with, where men are looking for these role models of how to embody masculinity because we are falling behind and a lot of people don't know how to act. What's really important, and what I've seen, at least in my experience, like feminism bring up, is the idea of like Justin Baldoni doing his talk about being man enough for your woman, being man enough to be emotional, being man enough to support children. That's the type of manliness and masculinity I think needs to be embodied so that men can catch up and feel like there's a place for them. That's something that we need to focus on, is making sure that people know how to embody masculinity in a way that's going to be beneficial for. Coming from the female. Okay. But yeah, Evil makes a great point here. A great point that if effeminate women and crying and all that stuff was attractive to women, we'd all be doing it. I certainly would. I'm a sensitive dude. There's been times where, maybe I want to share a little bit more. Maybe I want to shed a tear. But I don't. But if I knew it was going to get me laid, I definitely would. For everyone. All right. So that was that only the first prompt or the second one? Okay. So this prompt is: women should also be drafted into the military. I actually want to hear from you guys on this one. Women drafted. Put up a new poll, please. Let me know what you think. Did I miss anything? All right. So yeah, the prompt again is: women should also be drafted into the military.
Should also be drafted into the military.
Often drafted into the military.
If you're gonna vote, you might as well be drafted, baby. That's it.
Yeah, I believe rights come with responsibilities, and we are all responsible individuals. Granted, I'm glad we live in a society where we haven't had the draft since, I think, Vietnam. I think Vietnam.
50 years ago.
I do think that maybe like we should relook at the draft and as other options, not just military service.
That's a great point. That's a great point. This is something Tim Pool talks about a lot too. That service guarantees citizenship. So you don't necessarily have to be, like in South Korea and other places. Like every adult male has to do some time in in active military duty. And I'm not a military guy. I don't know exactly how that works. But the idea that you have to put some skin in the game in order to have the power to shape the nation. If you're just hanging out here, then maybe you don't have the same reasons to vote the way the rest of us do. So even if it's not the military, maybe there's I don't know. I don't have anything off the top of my head. But there's other ways to work for your community, work for your state, work for the country that isn't combat based. And I think that, implementing that would really do a lot for how people see the country and life overall. Selvin Scorpion says, true, half the men in this country lack proper role models. And it also plays a factor in men seeking male bonds via homosexual relationships. Well, I don't know. This is what Kluke was saying before. Is that a thing? I mean, are dudes just like, well, I guess.
What?
I mean, do what you guys want to do, but I don't think I could ever be that desperate. But hey, to each their own.
Service. So I was in the active duty military, and I was also in the National Guard, and I've fought wildfires, and like I've done crowd control. I've done a lot of other things.
Then why you still a little bitch? Just kidding.
If you want the same rights, you have to have the same responsibilities, and I think that's just universal based on what you can do and your abilities.
His
This
shirt.
was a very difficult one for me to parse through because I remember when I was getting my birth certificate changed and it was like, all right, time to register for selective service. And I was like, oh God, I have to make this decision now to register.
You don't have a choice.
I know. So I was like, all right, cool. Like I will go through with finishing all this legal stuff up and register. And I think, like you said, there's lots of other responsibilities that men and women of different abilities and different strengths could fulfill within selective service if we needed it.
Yeah, I like this too. You know, the idea of having children, it anchors you to anchors you to reality. Now, I don't necessarily know if I'm ever going to have kids. I would like to have kids, but I don't know if that is if you intend to live child free. I mean, I guess I don't know how you would ever measure that, but yeah, I guess I don't disagree.
Drafted, correct me if I'm wrong, would.
So remember, the prompt is women should also be drafted into the military. We just heard from the agreeers, and now these are the people that disagree.
Be going into war, would be physically going and doing
Not
the actual combat.
A lot of the draftees in Vietnam didn't go see combat. They did supportive roles.
Okay.
It's selective service, so you register to be potentially needed to call for multiple different responsibilities.
But some of them are going.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Some
So
of them, there was some bad case.
Right, but her point is that if World War III is really coming, then they ain't gonna hire you to, fix a computer. If it really goes down like that, that is what it's gonna come down to, and that's only when we use that's the only time a draft is relevant.
the part
I mean,
that
not I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but you know what I mean.
I would disagree with would be putting women on the front lines. We are physically capable to do a lot. There's different boundaries for women who go into the military who have to do boot camp than there are for men. We can work women as hard as they can, but they're not going to work as hard as men are.
I actually got accepted into the Air Force, which would have been like very nice because I would have a little desk job. But unfortunately, I was waiting for a job, so I went into Army. So I went through boot camp and it was hell, and it really messed my back up even more than it already was. Our rationale skills and our logical thinking is not conducive to be able to be on the front grounds, to be able to make, oh my gosh, if I step here, this is going to blow up. Can I, we just think too emotionally. And that's why when we talked about leadership, it's the same thing. Being in those positions where like split second decision could make or break, I don't think women have it in them to do that. And I don't think it's fair to men to be, if I was a man, I wouldn't want to be next to a woman and want to be carried out if my life was depending on it.
I think it seems like a lot of the same discussions keep happening with these prompts, which
because feminism is inherently flawed. So it's just going to come down to the flaw in the ideology. That's why. We also, again, just thinking about this, would you rather me or plastic boobs try to pull you out? I mean, she looks pretty tall, so I'm pretty sure I'm stronger than her, but maybe not. I'm a small dude. These arguments are so superficial. Dr. Virginia says she messed her back up, so she got an oversized tits. That makes no sense. Women never do.
which is back and forth of how much is it nature, how much is it nurture, how much are there like intrinsic biological differences between men and women, and how much does that dictate our behavior and our physiology, our biology, versus how much of that is through social learning. So how much it's our
Are you just asking questions, bro, or you have anything to say?
culture in terms of, let's say,
Societal
like
programming
on a
versus-
scale of 1 to 10, how high is your sex drive?
Very high. I'm a sex.
I'm not asking you
Oh,
you
I thought you
personally.
were. I'm like, I'm a sex.
So I
it's
wasn't
like-
asking you.
Sorry.
If
We are
you
not
ask
surprised.
everyone that,
Yeah.
you'll see on average differences between men and women. And because of that, I don't think we should dictate whether or not someone is drafted into the military, because ultimately I think individuals should have the freedom to make certain choices.
Right, but we're already talking about a thing that is not the freedom to make the like. You realize that men already have to sign up to be drafted. I feel like he doesn't understand that.
It's a draft, though.
Sure.
And they
Yes.
can go in if they want.
It's a
That's
draft,
the military.
and
Exactly. What are you
you're
talking
saying?
about, bro?
You don't think people should be treated differently because there can
Exactly.
be metrics
It's
that fall outside
differential
of the data.
treatment. That's
Of
what I'm
course,
getting
yeah.
at.
So there is differential treatment, but I would say that it's completely reasonable to do that because not only are we focusing on the differential treatment, but we're focusing on outcome. So if I'm expecting somebody to go into combat, which is the reason I didn't walk forward, you should also expect that person on an individual basis to be able to meet the exact same standard as every other man that they are going
Which
to be
is what I
fighting
said.
with.
So
I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm gonna work on it. But I can't do that right now.
the
Now-
military has made a change on that, by the way.
Yes,
they
they
have a
have.
new individual test that's based on what jobs you're gonna do. If you're doing more combat
Sure.
roles, yes, you have to be stronger, tougher, and there are women meeting those standards. That's
Yes,
why
yes,
things
I
are
agree.
changing. And like I said, I'm not for the draft at all, really. I think it's
Agreed.
a really bad thing. But if
Yeah.
it was to happen, like it should be across all boards. Everybody gets treated equal.
If I could
Fair
choose
enough.
the possibility of women being drafted or not, I would choose that they're not. Well, I don't want
saying
my
any-
Surprise, surprise.
Anyone.
daughter to be drafted.
I think if you draft, at least account for the differences, please.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on to female sex workers should be more respected. So let's go to our poll here. We got 60% no on women being drafted. So let's keep it rolling. Sex workers more respected. And dude just lied, Dr. Rodriguez says. Women aren't meeting the standards. That's why they're constantly lowering the standards in all branches of the military. That's why I was like, I was here and I was like, is that because I'd never heard of that. I have heard of them lowering the standards in combat roles for women, where if you're a man, you have to meet this standard, and if you're a woman, you only have to meet here. I mean, I don't know how it got that bad. A little bit of saving grace is that we're talking with Harley in Discord. You guys know Harley Rose, our resident fact checker, and her husband is in the military, and she was talking about how the front facing, they're very trying to be in line and inclusive and diversity and all that stuff, but it's still very much like it's always been for once you get in. So again, that's that's secondhand, but I don't know. Wow, how many votes do we have? All right, can we get 2 more votes? Let's get 2 more votes.
Sex workers should be more respected.
Haram! Haram!
I don't know a ton about this topic, but I
don't know a ton about this topic. I mean, my friend, I was doing some research and a friend told me.
do think I subscribe to the idea that legitimizing sex work reduces the safety risks associated with that profession. It's a very old profession. It's been around for a while.
It's going to continue to be around.
I don't, I think it's also, there's tools out there like OnlyFans that I think has put a lot of the power in the hands of the creators.
Power. Okay.
A lot of people don't realize like nobody like actively chooses to be in sex work.
The dude just said that OnlyFans people are empowered. Nobody chooses that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They do.
Usually go into sex work because of social situations, and if it's a black market, most people ask why I joined the military. It's like because
I would love. It's not gonna be that clear. So I was gonna say I want to look in the comments and see what some of the women are saying about that, because that's a painting sex workers with a broad brush. There's a lot of chicks who are just like, yo, I'm trying to get the bag. That's it.
I was poor. Like there was no other fucking reason. And I'm not saying it would get rid of exploitation, but if women have legal protections, like if I was a prostitute and I could go up to a cop and say, hey, I got beat up and my money stolen, not being worried about being arrested, like I would be more likely to report crimes and get the people who are causing problems.
Yeah, and then for the people who just want to do it and want to just like own their sexuality, own their body, and use it as a commodity, a way to make money, they should be able to do that in a way that is safe, in a way that they own all of the videos, all of the content that.
Well, I don't know about the ownership, but I thought he was going to go down the safety road because I certainly wouldn't want it outlawed. I just like so many other things that I think are bad for society, it should be socially enforced like it was for all of history. Like you said, they call it the oldest profession, even though great How I Met Your Mother joke when Barney Stinson's like it's the oldest profession, and then the lawyer dude's like, oh yeah, so the first dude who went to a hooker, what did he? Yeah, he just gave her a fish. So then fisherman would be the first. I just butchered that. Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, I already got that one. I thought you were gonna save me, but that is all right.
That they make, and in a way that is equitable for them.
When it comes to risk,
Yeah, no, I don't care about any of that. I think, you know, it should work as any other capitalistic endeavor. I think it makes a lot of sense that if you are a company like that, what's the like what is it? Like Brazzers. Like if you're a company and you're creating opportunity for women and men who want to do this, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like on from a financial standpoint. So, and I don't think it should be illegal. It's consenting, as long as it's consenting adults, of course. Lucy says, having sex with perverts is always going to be dangerous. I mean, yeah, but that's exactly why it should be legalized so that it can be regulated. You know, if everything else is going to be regulated, then we may as well make sure that, you know, under that framework, we're keeping people who are, you know, very much at risk a little bit safer. Oh, we got a new sponsor of the stream, Dr. Evil Genius. Thank you so much. Let's give him one of the beef jerky ones. Morty, this is from our good friend, Dr. Evil Genius. Yay! Thank you. And yeah, guys, definitely go check out TSP. They had I did a short video on the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing, but they did a whole stream on it, and really, really good. Very, very good. Yeah, we're all perverts. Facts.
respect, there's two definitions. Respect
So when it comes to respect, there's two definitions.
either can mean like politeness, like you wouldn't shut the door on somebody that's like walking behind you, like be
Okay.
respectful. The other respect is usually if you do something that in the workplace that garners approval, you've completed a goal. So when we talk about respect when it comes to sex workers, should we be polite to them? Probably. That would be a human thing to do. I don't have to, but yeah, I prefer OnlyFans over the traditional porn industry.
Yeah, because you own it, and then it's
women
a lot
got
more protected.
sex trafficked.
But that agency is important to
I
know
think
that it's
so,
what
yeah.
you own, and to have that respect put onto you that like this is your content you're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he would be against somebody wanting to sign up with a company to get more exposure, to get better quality, just like any other, the TV industry, the movie industry, the music industry, the YouTube industry. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
Now it's their copyrighted material. Before, when it was the old porn industry, they didn't have rights to those videos. And that's a huge thing. Like if I want to take my stuff down, you have to go to a court with a copyright case. And it just...
That's what happened with Mia Khalifa. That was her whole thing. And luckily now she has a very successful career doing it.
Does she though? A successful career? Okay.
Like sports commentating and stuff. But that's, unfortunately, that's not the rule. That's the exception. Where she's been able to be successful.
But it's a role model.
True. Mia Khalifa,
Right off the bat.
Mia Khalifa is not a role model, or it shouldn't be. Right off the bat, she's coming in hot.
You said Mia Khalifa went from being a porn star to being a sports commentator. That is something that we should be directing women towards. It shouldn't be, okay, well, she's going to go do an OnlyFans or she's going to be in 50 porn videos to get paid. When we're encouraging women to go out of their way to sell their bodies on the internet because that's a means to an end, we're not doing that the right way. And I don't think the feminist movement should be moving in the direction of normalizing sex work when we should be encouraging women to value themselves, value their body, value their talent, and take that elsewhere.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. If Mia Khalifa is so successful and amazing, why didn't she just go into sports broadcasting? Maybe it's not that she's so good at that. It's just that she can't do anything else, and she did get some fame. And so whatever low tier, Z tier sports organization is picking her up, it's just to get eyeballs. It's not about, oh, we respect her so much. Dr. Eugenia's sponsor of the stream says, Mia, a success? She's always crying about how horrible her life was while performing and how awful the resulting stigma is to live with. She is not a picture of success. And she is the exception. She is the top. Pause. She is the best case scenario. So, I mean, relatively, yeah, maybe she's the picture of success. But no.
There's a lot of things in place, though, for women. Like, yeah, there's obviously a need if they're in maybe a lower economic class or something, but at the end of the day, that's more of like a morality topic, you know? And so you can't really...
Well, it's a morality question. Should they be more respected is you know what I mean?
Force that on everybody. I agree with you.
Right.
But
The other thing would be is that women are not happy when they're doing this. It's not empowering as a woman. You can go on Twitter and see these women who are in their 30s with an OnlyFans link in their bio, but with no kids, no husband, no specific thing to actually care about. It's all about materialistic things. These are the same women that you're seeing tweeting about how sad they are. They're tweeting about how it's not generalized. It's the majority of those women. They are on antidepressants.
I'd like to speak because I've actually been in the industry. So I was...
She's been in the industry. All right, all right. Eva says, on top, all of the top performers complain about how their lives turned out. Observable reality is what it is. It is what it is. In the words of the great Max Holloway, it is what it is.
Was trafficked for a decade. You hit the nail. That's okay. You hit the nail on the head. I came from a very poor socioeconomic background. I was a product of the state. And so I speak from experience when I say it's not empowering, it's not glorifying, it's not owning your body. None of that stuff is true. No little girl when they're 4 or 5 says, I want to grow up and be a hooker. OnlyFans is the biggest pimp of them all. They're still taking 20%, and your content still gets leaked a lot.
I agree. I'm not.
That, I mean, that's the end of the conversation. That's the end of the conversation. Like, I don't have anything to add to that. I don't have anything to add to that. That was perfect.
I'm in favor of any kind of exploitation.
That's what she's telling you, bro, is that all of it is exploitation. And it may be voluntary, but that doesn't mean it's not exploitative. And so you can you can decide to you know, go into these lines of work, but it is what it is.
I also am uncomfortable by the idea of like women I know, if they were in that industry, like I admit, like it makes me feel uncomfortable. My gut is
how dare you? That is sexist, and that is anti-feminist and misogynistic and all these things. You should treat them with respect because they're strong and empowered, and even the male feminist knows. You know, bro. You know.
So you have a daughter. I'm going to be having a daughter in 4 months.
Let's just go back to the daughter.
So, well, I mean,
it's directly relevant.
It's a good question because you're raising a human being for the future of society that we're going to all shape. How does it make you feel to raise a daughter in a world where you can either preserve, you can either preserve her innocence, or you can step away and let her do the OnlyFans.
How about respect
thing.
femininity?
It's a great question, and there's two truths. There's two truths that I feel like I can hold at the same time.
So real quick, they kind of glossed over it. Maybe they'll come back to it, but they also separated. There's a difference between femininity and feminism. I hope they come back to that.
One is I would be very uncomfortable if any female relative was, or person that I loved, was exploring that profession.
What?
Why? I thought you just said it was so empowering.
Like I would have
You can't
some
even say it.
I'm trying to be as
But
as like
You're trying to be as snaky and say whatever is going to make you look good. That's what you're trying to do. Just say the things that are in your head. That's it.
professional as I can.
Yeah, as a father
shows that you
specifically.
fail.
No. I don't think that I'd fail. I would have complex feelings to navigate.
Yeah.
There's that word. Navigate. I would have to navigate. What are you saying? What does that mean? That's a nothing sentence. Like, I would have to deal with that. Yes, that goes without saying. That things that happen in your life happen in your life. That is not a meaningful statement. He's a man that stands for nothing. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything.
On a higher level, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that profession, and I respect people who do it in a way that's fulfilling to them.
Do you know? Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
And that brings them happiness. If someone's doing that job and it doesn't bring them joy, obviously I would not.
But most of
encourage
the
them.
women
But you have to
are doing it
understand it's
aren't
not bringing
fulfilled.
value or happiness to women.
Exactly. He's trying to gloss over this. He's trying to say, well, if it's happy, that's like saying, hey, well, let me read this first real quick. Hey, we got no freedoms in the building. Welcome to the party. It says, oh my Lord, useless women, says no freedoms, talking about them being useless. Damn. I miss the days when women were not a part of the workforce and knew their place in the house. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that take either on what's going on or society, but all the women here are anti-feminists. So this is male feminist versus a female anti-feminist. So, I mean, I know you hate women, but you might agree with what they have to say. Yeah, I don't want any of my female family doing it, but I respect them. Feminist will not make sense. It just won't. It'll just be whatever is convenient in the moment.
I'm just trying not to wrap it all into one bundle because there's going to be exceptions.
Okay, but then that means that there's a rule. So let's talk about the rule. And then we can talk about the exceptions. Hey, we got Alex Pickus in the building. What is good? What is good? Welcome to the party, brother.
I think you just want to be careful of like putting a negative label over like so many people's lives.
I think
You mean like you just did? Wow. Yeah, the roles are reversed in this video. The men, the wannabe men, are useless. We got to remember, though, they're making some good points, but at the end of the day, they still are women.
should be negative, though, so that young daughters don't run to her. And why don't we respect?
Yeah, let's hear this in full.
I think should be
Be
negative.
careful of like putting a negative label over like so many people's lives.
I think should be negative, though, so that young daughters don't run to her. And why don't we respect? Have more respect
them
for
enough
femininity
to love them, to
versus
direct them in a
respect for
different
sex work.
way.
So exactly. We want that social pressure. We want there to be shame attached to the things that we societally don't want. We don't want laws against it. We just want the social the social idea around it that is not something that is desirable. So if you decide to go in there with your free will under a capitalistic society, then you understand that that's what comes with that. All right.
Men should take birth control.
Men should take birth control. Okay, we got half and half. Oh, this guy's thinking. He don't really know what to think. He's like, what's going to make me look good?
Well, male birth control,
So we got half and half. So half of the feminists and half of the women.
like, does exist. The problem is there hasn't been a lot of funding into
Right.
making it like commercially available.
Why do you think that is, sir? Maybe because people don't want it. If people want, it's simple supply and demand. If people wanted it, it would be out there. Oh my goodness! Out-sponsoring himself, Dr. Evil Genius. Oh my goodness, with another. Let's do a little dance. Make a little love. There you go. Good boy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, man. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And you can tell he does as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's about, you know, making it an equal responsibility all around, especially if there's a more effective way, like a pill. They can't just whine about the side effects when they know that it can significantly decrease a woman's quality of life when she's dealing with all this.
I'm really bad at math. Hold on. 199 plus. I'm really this dumb.
Her chance of
I agree with that.
fertility, her chances of, I've never been on birth control, and I don't believe in taking it. I don't believe in putting anything like that alters my body. I'm not saying either party should have it, because personally, I don't think that anyone should put that stuff in their body. But if one's going to do it, and then the other one should have the option.
Oh, following right up. Oh, man, you guys are awesome. You guys are blessing me tonight. Oh, man, another one for you. Yeah, another one. They're giving you love tonight, brother. Good boy. All right. Thank you, guys. Very, very, very much appreciated. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. Oh, we got Mrs. Evil in the building. Welcome to the party. Welcome. It says your welcome sound and Morty treat sound is the same. Poor thing was waiting for food. I know. I only got the small one. I got to get a bigger stream deck and all that stuff. But it works, you know. But welcome to the party. Welcome. And the Dr. Virginia says the plastic savage doesn't believe in all. Did she say that? Did I miss that while I was doing math? We're gonna have to go back. But first, we got JJ in the building. Welcome to the party, JJ. Said instead of fighting identity politics, I'd wish we'd fight the IRS, to be honest. Civil forfeiture and unjust taxes are highly underrated. I completely agree with you. The thing is that most people don't care. They don't care about the nitty gritty. So the way to get them to realize that stuff like this is connected to identity politics and the culture war, that's the stuff that they're going to care about. That's the stuff that affects them directly. And so once they start realizing, oh, like this is happening to my child, I need to do something about this. Oh, the way to do this is to go through the political channels. But they don't understand that. I didn't understand that for a long time. And it wasn't until there was culture issues that came up that mattered to me that I realized, oh, all of this stuff is connected to our politics. Dr. Evil said, Mrs. Evil been watching this whole time. Dan says she's been silent like a real woman. Oh my goodness.
Doing it.
Yeah, if we're in a world where women have the access to it and men have the access to it.
Oh yeah, I need to back this up.
And all this, and they know that it can significantly decrease a woman's quality of life when she's dealing with all this.
Her chance of fertility, her chances of, I've never been on birth control, and I don't believe in taking it. I don't believe in putting anything like that alters my body. I'm not saying either party.
Bro, what?
We should have it, because personally, I don't think that anyone should put that stuff in their body. But if one's going to do it, and then the other one should have the option of doing it.
Yeah, if we're in a world where women have the access to it and men have the access to it, should is just such a strong word.
So strong.
Make the choice for your own body. That's why I didn't walk forward. But yeah, if you both have the option.
If men had the right to birth control,
Yeah, I don't like this prompt. It's not fostering a good conversation.
then they would ultimately be coinciding and deciding if a child should come to life. Right now, women ultimately
Have all
have
the
that
power.
decision. No matter what you say, she gets to decide if she goes through with it or not. And I think that's kind of problematic for many reasons, but yeah.
It goes back to why I stepped forward with the military draft. Everyone needs to take responsibility for.
He was the one who was just complaining about how every prompt they talk about the same thing. And then he brings up a previous prompt. Who's really the women on this panel?
People's sexual and reproductive health.
But are you
And again, same thing. Sexual and reproductive health. Say it with your chest. Why can't you speak? Because you are feminized. You are meek and weak. Like, it's sad to see that this is how so many men actually live, actually think. This is how they actually behave. I mean, When you're right, brother. When you're right, you're right.
Saying that because you know that women would want a guy to take birth control, like that's more of like you want to please the feminists.
Please myself because I'm a feminist.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like male feminists have a tendency to have the talking points and they're like,
Yup.
women want us to take the birth control, so I guess we will, but like, do you actually think that you would?
Why wouldn't I?
Nope.
Why don't you get a vasectomy?
I did.
Did you?
I have a vasectomy.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
Okay, yes.
Why wouldn't you have said that in the beginning? That it seems like again you were holding that back to throw as a dunk. Actually, I did. That would have been a good way to start the conversation instead of talking about the draft. He wouldn't because he gets no buns. Oh, I mean, oh.
I decided to get a vasectomy because I wanted to play a small, very small part in having men take more responsibility for their sexual and reproductive.
Let's all give a standing ovation to this man who is doing God's work. He is saving our nation by snipping his vas deferens.
Reproductive health. And once I learned more about vasectomies and the procedure,
Yikes.
it seemed like a no-brainer for me to get it.
Just so we're all clear, no freedoms. This is the line of what I can put up here. This is right. It's getting right there. But this is what I could put this on screen. But yeah.
I've known for a few years that I
Just
didn't
so you
want
know.
children, and so I'd been thinking about getting a vasectomy. And then Roe v. Wade got overruled, and I just looked into it and I started doing more research on it. And free of insurance,
Yeah, I was going to say.
no side effects. It's an outpatient procedure, so you go in 20 minutes, you're out.
You're out.
You go. I went to work the next day.
Jay says, I hear you and politely disagree. Fair enough. The culture war is a distraction to keep us plebeians distracted. No, yeah, hey, we love pushback. We love discourse. This is as much of a free speech platform as YouTube will let us. Once we go to Discord, all bets are off. We be screaming at each other. But as long as you're in good faith, that is what we need in this country. The whole fostering the ability to have the conversation that you and I are having while all of this is going on. So I'm very glad that you are willing to disagree and talk about it. I mean, I think a lot of culture war issues specifically can be distractions. But again, I think that the notion, I mean, I said it already, but just to restate my point, that I think there's too many people that don't care about the smaller parts of politics and bills and the IRS and this and that. They can't connect to that. So it's the culture issues that they can see. They can see, hey, I buy Bud Light all the time, but now there's this Hishi on here. I'm not buying that anymore. And all of that, then they look more into that, and then they realize that it's connected to politics, and that is how they get into the weeds, so to speak. But yeah, I very much welcome any disagreement at all. This is a place where we want the truth, and we can't get the truth without having a free marketplace of ideas. And if I say some stupid shit, you guys better come down on that ass. Pause. But yeah. David Banner said, let's be real. This motherfucker shouldn't be spreading his genes anyway. Got him. Emotional damage. Yeah. So now we know. So we'll that's what I call a no-brainer. Definitely does make a good point. Lefty Lucy said, it doesn't matter what any of us identify as. We are all tax slaves. Dr. Evo Genius says, 5 greatest transes of all time. Dylan, and Dylan. Yep, facts. With all this fiat currency, we definitely are all tax slaves. Not financial advice, but buy gold or Bitcoin.
You should not take it if you have any inkling of a doubt about not wanting biological children, because it's not 100% reversible.
All right.
In some cases, they do it. Yeah.
Right. It's preposterous to me
Fair
that
enough.
it's only about 5 to 6% of men in the U.S. have a vasectomy.
Why?
Because definitely more than 5 to 6% of men in the U.S. don't want to have children.
Okay, so bro, you can see the line of thinking. This is the exact same thinking of a child wanting to transition. A man might not want children now, but especially for men, because women have a biological clock with this stuff. But you could be a 70-year-old dude spitting loads all over the place, and you're good. It's not the same thing. You're telling other people to do something that you just said yourself is not 100% reversible. When you cannot know the future. Yeah, he wants to control other men's bodies. Feminists.
That's true.
Yeah,
because it's like
complicated
condom,
with hormones. I know why.
vasectomy. There
Yeah.
is no
There's
there's no
nothing in
middle
between.
ground
Abstinence.
Yeah.
between the two.
I mean, not even abstinence, just not fucking dudes that you don't want to, or not fucking people that you don't want to have children with.
But
And I think it's because of patriarchy.
I'm gonna come back to this, but really, how is this the patriarchy? I would love to hear this. So before we go, Cook was saying men don't want to have children. Ask him when he's childless and 50 exactly, and see if you get the same answer, and I'll believe it. Exactly. All right. You know what? Let me just. Anybody else out there drinking? Let's just take a deep breath and a sip before we get into the patriarchy. All right. Oh, hey, JJ. Thank you so much. I don't even know if you know this, but every single super chat on this channel comes with a treat for Morty. So I'll pull this out of the way. Yep, Morty, that is another one. Here you go, bud. There you go. Yeah, thank you so much, JJ. Much appreciated.
I know you hate me using that word, but like I think it's because we prioritize.
Of gynocentrism. That's why.
Did y'all hear it? Because she got it on point.
And I think it's because of patriarchy. I know you hate me using that word, but like I think it's because we prioritize.
Of gynocentrism. That's why. Listen, we have advanced so much. You don't think they could come up with a pill at this point? Think about it.
They've come up with one. Just
Right. He's almost there. But I guarantee you it's not going to be because, well, nobody was buying it.
it's
It's
not
just that
commercial.
there's
Oh, he's almost there. Let's see.
not a market for it.
Exactly. There's not a market for it. People don't want that.
Gynocentrism is like a.
Okay, so I want to hear from the disagreeers.
One thing that I do agree with is the fact that birth control has a lot of side effects. And if I'm not going to take that, and a lot of people aren't going to take that and have the side effects, then I don't think men should have to either.
Based.
I think we live in an over-sexualized society where we're trying to, yes, find ways to solve this issue because you cannot stop everybody from doing it. Why not preserve and protect yourself and not go around and sleep with everybody?
But that is
There's a
message
very
is very
small
small group of
Right.
people that believe that, mostly in the faith-based
Right.
communities.
Atheist, don't go fucking people you don't want to have children with. It's not that difficult.
But as
that's
far
that's
as
your right to
Yeah.
be able to do that and make that decision, and
Right.
you totally.
I just don't.
Okay, great. That's your right. Then, you fixed it. So we don't need feminism anymore, right? Yeah, if only self-control was a thing. It's a sad, sad world we live, and we just can't control our own bodies. Oh, wait, that's bullshit.
I think
Well,
it's
you're
ever
I'm not saying you. I know you were.
gonna get
I don't
like
think
My sarcasm meter isn't that far off.
it should be like imposed on everybody type of a thing.
I'm not for male birth control by force. If somebody wants to take that, yes, but I think there needs to be more comprehensive research and stuff. Female birth control is a little sketchy at times because there have been incidences where they've had to recall stuff because they kind
Multiple
of,
times, yeah.
I think one of them was like the old Yaz. They had to recall
Yeah, I
because it was
forgot
causing,
about
like,
those
blood
commercials.
clots or something.
yeah.
Like,
That's
So then here we go. We have the, with no freedoms. I don't know that for a fact, but I will, we'll take it at face value unless anybody can say otherwise. Makes a lot of sense. The reason that women are the market for birth control is because women, like no women, are not having sex. And I'm saying that broadly, but most women are sexually active. We know now that men under 30 A third of men under 30 are either virgins or have not had sex in the last year. I'm the second one, unfortunately. But I'm fine with that because I'm not trying to deal with all that stuff. I'm going to get my money up, get my weight up, and then we have a different story. So New Freedoms was saying all of this, and Evil said, because the majority of women are having sex with a small minority of men. Men without sexual access will have a tough time picking up STDs. Facts. Yeah, self-control is in not nailing every hole you can. It's oh yeah, I'm waiting for that one. Hey, if they got a pill for that, I will definitely get on the pill.
It's very
Most
common.
birth controls cause.
Yeah,
That's what's
and
causing.
I hope we get to a place
Yeah.
where we're not using things where hormone, because the other thing is a lot of people don't get.
Did he really just say that? Did he really just say that? Y'all heard it too, right?
I hope we get to a place
Yeah.
where we're not using things where hormone.
So you're against transitioning children then, right? Because again, adults, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And if one of these women don't bring this up, I'm going to be very, very mad.
Because the other thing is a lot of people don't get blood tests to check their hormones on a regular basis. And actually, technically, birth control, female birth control, is an oral steroid.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's actually a 19-nor, and like people are taking steroids.
I think we're going to find out decades from now how harmful this actually
has
is, probably
been
for
in
both
our body.
sexes.
And like
Unfortunately, like the pharmaceutical industry is so based on profit that like if they think men aren't going to take male birth control, they're not going to put in the research. They're not going to create it.
That's called capitalism. But I'm sure you have no problem. You had no problem with Big Pharma over the past 3 years, right?
They're not going to invest in it. So if we socialize and say, hey, like this is a responsibility men should also have, then we can get research into all birth control to make it safer and more effective for everyone. So that
And so this is exactly what I was saying with JJ, that most people don't care about the very particular things and the bills and the this and the that, because it is boring. But when it comes to this stuff, people do care about that. And when we're talking about this, it leads into, okay, if you do care about this, then you have to do something politically. But in order to get the numbers, in order to be politically effective, you have to have a culture that is behind you.
we don't not everyone has to be experiencing these horrible side effects.
All right.
Being a mother is the most valuable thing a woman can do.
So the prompt again, being a mother is the most valuable thing a woman can do. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Being a mother is the most valuable thing a woman can do. I mean, I want to say yes. I want to say yes. The only thing I'm thinking is I don't necessarily think that, it makes you less of a woman if you can't have children. But there's a reason that women who can't have children get very upset about that fact. So I'm going to go with yes. I could be persuaded, but I'm going to go off with yes. Dr. Evil Genius says the fake man apparently doesn't know about the 3 male birth control options in development right now. Oh, interesting. Me neither. What are they? Perhaps it's because the fake male doesn't need the male birth control. Yeah. No, for instance, maybe don't sleep around and then cry about it. Single mothers are failures, just like single men are to some degree. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Lefty Lucy says pharma don't want to make a pill that will stop all future customers from being born. It's not in their interest to promote it. Then why? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because I was going to say why would they invest so much in female birth control then? But I stopped myself because they gonna do it anyway. And as Dr. Evil brought up, they're gonna do it with a very small group of men. I have the same pack of Blue Chew that I had a year ago. Freedom says, "Yep, a woman's main and only job," says No Freedoms, "is to have kids. You are less than a woman," No Freedom says, "if you can't have kids. If you can't have kids, you can still take care of them more than a. If you can't have kids, you can still take care of them more than a real mother." I'm not sure I understand the second part. Dr. Blue Genius says, doesn't mean that women not having children aren't valuable, just that keeping the species existing is the most valuable thing. There you go. Yep, you've convinced me. Yeah, absolutely. Men hold the live rounds. Facts. JJ says it's not just women that hurt over that. As a man whose only procreation attempt ended in a miscarriage, I'm very sorry to hear that, JJ. That's got I cannot even imagine. I can confirm we too grieve over the same thing. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? Men, remember, men are the true romantics. So women might be emotional, but we romanticize things way more, on average, of course. And it's yeah, great point, man. Great point. All right, who's gonna step forward?
You are a mother.
Okay,
I
only two of the anti-feminist women and none of the men. So they think the only thing that a woman can do that a man can't do. I would assume that would be like their rally cry, that women are so amazing that they can have children and men can't. So rah rah feminism.
Almost, I mean, I am a mother, but she'll be born later. When you choose to have a kid, you're putting aside not necessarily what you want to do in the future, because I believe that women have every opportunity to still pursue what they want to do, even becoming a mother. You're
gonna tell me she's not cute? You're gonna tell me she's not a cuter? I mean, all right, her skin's not perfect, but she looks like a more wholesome Brie Larson, and she's anti-feminist. So
very fulfilling in a sense to be that selfless, to bring a human being into the world. And
well, but not having children, right? Not having children.
And give everything to them and watch them grow up and become their own person, and to feel that love unconditionally that something materialistic will never give you.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember my life before my son. And it really makes me sad today that more women, 10 years, more women in the United States will be opting out of marriage, out of children. That just is insane to me. It's innately in us to nurture and to love and to care and to create life. We literally give birth. It's an ability, a gift, and it's also, too much is given, much is required. It's a massive responsibility to raise a child, knowing that, as someone said earlier, your children are going to be the future of our planet.
Not children of the future. So before they come in, a great point of being a non-annoying woman is a benefit. You are above so many other women just by not being annoying. You don't even have to have any positive qualities. Just don't have the negative one that so many other women do.
I'm going to hear more from the disagreeers.
We're running the moms through the dirt. That's what I heard.
I think it's going to be the most valuable thing that I do in life, to have children and create a family. It's just such a subjective thing. And there's so many things that people contribute to the world. And for, I think, most women, when they leave this earth sitting on the deathbed, they probably will think the most powerful and valuable thing they've ever done is to create children. You know, there's like the famous quote, the greatest two things that you can leave on this earth when you die is art and children. And I think a lot of people are going to feel that way. I just don't want to subscribe value to somebody who doesn't see that as understanding.
That's kind of where I was coming from, but framing it as putting forth the species, what could be more valuable than that? What could be more valuable than that?
Somebody who can't have kids or just chooses not to.
Right.
You know, there's other ways to achieve greatness, but being a mom is a great thing. I think we all.
You would know, right?
Being a good mom.
Does anyone?
Being a good mom, yes.
Being a good mom. There's a lot of people who are moms. Not everybody.
No Freedoms. Who is it? What are you talking about? Hairy woman. I don't understand who you're referring to.
Is a good mom.
I was raised by a single mom. On top of that, I was also adopted. So my birth mother had to make an incredibly difficult choice to decide not to pursue raising this child.
So you had a wait. So you were adopted into a single mother situation? Not surprised that you transitioned.
And then my mother, who is a single mom, raised me and
How does a single mother adopt a child?
raised my siblings. The thing is she was also like a teacher and a professor and a principal and an administrator.
And what do we know about education? Another very feminized industry.
Honestly, what feminism really should be about and is about is making it so that
Oh, gotcha.
women, if they choose to be
Gotcha.
a mother and just do that for their entire life, they get as much respect and value and everything that they should be afforded as someone who decides to be a billionaire CEO as a woman.
The feminist movement is teaching women that it's the worst thing you could possibly do because you're gonna lose your money and you're gonna.
And I think sometimes sometimes some people live in echo chambers, and
You think? You mean like you, sir?
that might be a problem. But like, also, here's the other thing: are women not having children because it's economically difficult? Because in America,
No. I would venture a guess that most of the children born in America, I'm just talking out of my ass, I have no idea, but I'm going to guess that most of the children born in America are let's say, below the 50% line of income. If anybody can find a stat like that, I would love to know how close I am, but it makes a lot more sense.
it's really hard to have the kids, really expensive. We don't have health care.
We have the government, though, that will give you everything you need and more.
We don't.
You're fine, but
You're
not
fine.
everyone.
I
is
know,
fine.
but I'm saying
like,
that what
like me and my
the act of
girlfriend,
having
me-
a kid
me-
takes. Two people.
Yes, but me and my girlfriend, we could probably afford a kid, but right now it's probably not good because of
And
our
you're
Yeah, because I don't think that kid would have a good father.
making that decision. And
But here's the other thing: not everybody has that decision to make,
Pretty sure they do.
and it's actually economically really hard to have a kid in this country. Somebody's gonna have to stop working. Somebody's gonna have to make less money. There's not health care.
When I had my son, I had
Hey, we got Jimmy Dean in the building. Resident Sausage. Welcome to the party. Said, oh, you're close, buddy. Talking to the mic one more time. Welcome, brother. Welcome. Yep. The movement won't give you ish if you're a single father compared to a single mother. Yeah, I mean that's actually an interesting phenomenon, that like the single father is like, oh, he's such a good dad, where and I mean usually that's because of the way that the courts are set up. You gotta stuck your dick in crazy to get full custody of children. I mean, depending on what state, but it can be bad. Evil says, stats have shown that educated people reproduced at much lower rates than uneducated people. I'm smart. Just got done Oh, it got taken down. No. Oh, well, I'm a member. It's gonna be on the website. Oh man, hopefully there'll be clips because I wanted to cover that, but we'll see. Anyway,
no means. I had been.
Has that decision to make, and it's actually economically really hard to have a kid in this country. Somebody's gonna have to stop working. Somebody's gonna have to make less money. There's not health care.
When I had my son, I had no means. I had been trafficked. Obviously, I made the decision to see it as life and to have the child. And I had the child, and I was homeless in Newport Beach 8 years ago. When my son was just still nursing, 10 months old, worked around the clock and didn't stop until he was almost 5 years old. So until I got my degree. Well, 3
How'd you
credits.
handle child?
where I was gonna say, where's the father?
Okay.
And the county pays for it. That's why I'm trying
The county, aka the government.
to say we do have resources. I was a full-time
Yeah,
student,
but that's
and because
Newport
of
Beach. Like that's not everywhere.
California is
That absolutely is everywhere.
one of the more
dissect
you're-
every
if you're a
county
single
and
mom-
see which counties offer it.
California is one of the more
Yeah.
exceptional.
So I do think there's resources if you look for them. And I don't think that just
Mhm.
saying, oh, it's expensive to have a kid. Like,
Woe is me, I can't have a kid because I'm too poor. No, we live in a country where, like I said earlier, we have the opportunities to pursue what we can and what we want to do. And I don't think the feminist movement has any place to tell someone that they're too dumb or too poor to be able to have a kid.
beast.
Absolutely not. No
But
one
that
should be
is what
saying
the feminist movement is doing.
I agree. Yeah, maybe it's not as cool or fashionable to become a parent. Maybe like that's not, what people are valuing. Feminism
Nice,
to
dude.
me, and I think to the other guys here is just like viewing the sexes equally and feeling like they should have equal opportunity. I don't think it
I'm pretty sure we do. No. Yeah, we do.
expands much beyond that. No one here is saying it's not cool to be a mom or women shouldn't aspire to be a mom if
I completely agree. No freedoms. Completely agree.
that's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path, by all means, I think you should do it. My wife was very specific and like direct with me when we started dating.
Oh, so she wears the pants. Color me surprised.
She's like, I want to have kids. This is important to me. Are you on board or not?
Is that surprising to anyone? Is that surprising to anyone? Oh, Jimmy Dean says, I'm also slush. It's a dangerous dealing with so much money and equipment. This is what passes for an exciting Friday night. Hey, yo, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. So cheers to you, brother. Dr. Evil Genius said he just contradicted himself when he said it's not cool. I must have missed that.
Means I think you should do it. It's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path,
Did I go back further now?
by all means, I think you should do it. My wife was very specific and like direct with me when we started dating. She's
Hold on. We got this.
like, and feeling what it's not as cool or
That is what the feminist movement is doing.
I agree. Yeah, maybe it's not as cool or fashionable to become a parent. Maybe like that's not
True. Okay.
what people are valuing. Feminism to me, and I think to the other guys here is just like viewing the sexes equally and feeling like they should have equal opportunity. I don't think it expands much beyond that. No one here is saying
He's saying feminism doesn't expand beyond that?
it's not cool to be a mom or women shouldn't aspire to be a mom if that's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path, by all means, I think you should do it.
What did he say before that was the contradiction? One more time. Sorry, I'm retarded today, guys.
Feeling like people are valuing. Feminism to me, and I think to the other guys here is just like viewing the sexes equally and feeling like they should have equal opportunity. I don't think it expands much beyond that. No one here is saying it's not cool to be a mom or women shouldn't aspire to be a mom if that's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path, by all means, I think you should do it. My wife was very
yeah. So before, when he was saying that people aren't saying that, but he said people are saying that, and then I hear it now. Oh, I missed it. Good catch. And Freedom says, truly, I get bored with human contact after a while. I said, shit, me too. It goes on to say, I am a person who can only have a social life for about a few hours a day. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Going outside of my house is a commitment. If I'm not going out for work and getting money, then probably ain't gonna happen. There's very few people who will get me out of my house because it's just too. It's simple. It's nice. It's chill. I just like being home.
Very specific and like direct with me when we started dating. She's like, I want to have kids. This is important to me. Are you on board or not? And that was a goal that we set for ourselves.
That was a goal we set for ourselves.
She's not just a mom. There's other things. She has other ambitions. And she can do both of those things. And I think we all feel that that's possible. So when I hear you say, like feminism is saying that like moms can't do this or don't be a mom, I'm not sharing that experience of
that's
that
good.
information.
We don't shame motherhood. Like our side, we promote it a lot of the times, but whenever you hear the opposite thing, it's usually from the feminists.
Yup. Yeah, that's what we do. We are afraid. No, we're afraid to leave our houses. But I will sit here for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours talking to you guys. But I don't know. It's just different. It's just different because I'm here. Got my boy. Life was simple. Yeah, he gets chicks, but someone else is probably getting some as well, or she has him by the balls. She definitely has him by the balls, 100%. 100%. Jimmy Dean said, should the tower be left or right? Justified under the desk. I have mine on the left outside of the thing, but I also don't have anything over here. So it's kind of, set up.
Men need to be masculine to keep their families safe.
All right. So our new prompt, men need to be masculine to keep their families safe. So there's need. Do men need to be masculine? Do men need to be masculine? And do men need to be masculine to keep their families safe? There's 3 parts to that. Dan says an astounding yes. Yeah, I don't see any way that you could say no here. I don't understand what could, because I'm gonna guess that they're gonna go like one of them is probably a stay-at-home dad, and they are going to see that as not good enough, not man enough, projected onto everybody else. Because, well, I'm a man, but again, being confident in who you are, regardless of what that is masculinity. So if you're the best stay-at-home dad ever, good on you, bro. Good on you. Dr. Ruin sends no freedoms. He doesn't believe women are property. She's definitely getting that work from other men in their neighborhood. All right, so men need to be masculine to keep their families safe. All right, so soft-spoken army dude. And all of the anti-feminists, but the one.
There's a reason why people love Andrew Tate. And whatever you think about him in regards to what he's being accused of, which he has not been proven, but that's neither here nor there, men gravitated toward that. Why? Because he spoke to men in a sense of being a man, being a protector, and you have to be in charge of all your faculties and think more critically. So those aspects of masculinity appealed to men because men want to innately protect. If I go on a date, and you take me out on a date, and he's like, no, I wouldn't, but that's okay. And you take me to a dinner.
She wouldn't, bro.
And you don't sit facing the door. I'm never going out on another date with you.
I didn't know that was a thing with other people. Do you guys do that? Do you guys do that? I have to be facing out. Like if I go to a restaurant, I'm not looking at the corner. I have to be looking out. And it's not even because I think I can do anything to anybody, but it's just that type of awareness that you have to have as a man, because you know that anything at any point, violence is on the table. I didn't know that was something other people did, but I guess I'm a real man.
It's not like we're helpless, like, oh, I can't do anything, but having a man stand by you, protect you and your family and your children, masculinity is very important.
There are situations, like, for example, like, I'm like 230 pounds, my girlfriend's like 110, 5'2". Like, there's no way if somebody breaks in a house that she's gonna fight them off, unless she has a gun on her or something.
Right.
But, so in that situation, I would fill that masculine role.
Okay,
but
good.
Like, anybody can be strong. Anybody, like in a situation where I'm not there, I would hope if we had kids, she could protect them and defend them like the best she could. Where I get the issue with like, oh, men need to be masculine. It's like, oh, men need to always go work and bring the money.
No, see, now you're talking about this pseudo masculinity, this superficial appearance of masculinity. That's not like having money is not what masculinity means. You are a confused man because you listen to people who use words in whatever way is convenient for them, aka semantic obfuscation. It all boils down to 2 things. Bring me anything that you don't like, and I will show you how it either is due to semantic obfuscation or dogmatic thinking or a combination of both.
And all this stuff, because my girlfriend, she's highly educated. She actually makes way more money than I do, like way more. I work as a personal trainer. I don't make as much as she does. It is traditionally not very masculine for a woman to make more money than a man. And I know some people, they will be like, oh, you're not a real man if your woman makes more money than you. That's pathetic.
Called it.
Why is she with you? You sound like a loser.
Okay, so if that makes you feel some type of way, then you are not confident within yourself. That is the masculine part, not the outward-facing superficial stuff. That is the pseudo masculinity. And I like that, Dr. Genius, I like that a lot because it covers more than just toxic masculinity. But that's a great term, and I am using that all over the place.
Things like that. And I don't let that define my masculinity. I used to
Sounds like you do.
be insecure about it, but now I've grown more mature, and I feel like we're getting to a society where that's less of a problem. And like,
Then why do you need to be a male feminist? If we're already moving in that way, and we have women here who are anti-feminists.
some people might disagree with this, and like, but it's just my opinion. I think to raise a
Shout out to Louis Rossman.
son, it's easier if you're a man. It doesn't have to be a father. It could be an uncle or some positive role model. Same thing with a positive female role model, because like, I don't know what it's like to be like a female going through puberty, but I was a young man. Right now, a lot of our young men are misguided, and a lot of them are making bad decisions. And it's because like a lot of these young men get this testosterone boost, their brains aren't fully developed, and they like the vast majority of crimes are committed by 16 to 23-year-olds.
The reason I walk forward is about exactly what you just said. Men have these feelings and this aggression often deep inside them, and it's about using that aggression or those feelings that you have to protect rather than to inflict.
Exactly. All right. So all three of these men disagree with the statement that men need to be masculine to keep their families safe. Any guesses on what they possibly could have to say that would be reasonable? That no, men don't need to be masculine to keep their families safe.
What?
Dr. Gene is not happy. So why does it have to be all these other men? Why not just admit it? Boys need their fathers. Jimmy's speaking up for the ladies.
I guess I'm just not entirely sure what.
Oh, well, okay, well, that's the trans one. I'm just saying they sound so, that soy sound like,
Say it with your chest!
God damn. Oh, that's
Like just masculinity in general has to do with keeping people safe.
Could I
Yes.
quickly respond? And that I
Yeah.
just think it's that
yes, because it has to do with taking accountability, taking responsibility, putting yourself in harm's way when it's appropriate, and because you are the one who is going to, again, take that responsibility instead of putting your wife or putting your friends or whatever. So yes, sir.
men have that natural propensity towards it. If I think of roles in society that are protectors, we could say police officers, anybody who's going to take on that role of physical aggression in order to stop a bad situation from happening. Men tend to take those roles. And if you just look at the demographics of those roles in particular, men choose to take that on and they persevere and drive for it.
Yep.
Let's say I get married to a guy and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. That's fine. I enjoy working. So I actually wouldn't be totally opposed to me grabbing the gun if an intruder came in and being the one to kill somebody.
Right. Again, you're missing the point now. Why does him being a stay-at-home father prevent him from being the one who would protect you? Everybody here is missing the point. Let her go be girl boss and do whatever. Bring home money. You take care of the house. And then when somebody breaks in, because you are the man, you take that responsibility. Because you are also a masculine man, you don't care that other people are going to make fun of you because you are there to fill the role in your family that works. I'm not going to say that every single relationship has to have traditional gender roles. I think by and large that usually works out better. But if you're already in a happy relationship and you don't have those typical roles, that's fine. But it doesn't need to be all or nothing. Superficial.
My husband's normally like the one protecting the kids, I guess.
Right.
I don't think it necessarily.
That's even a good point too. If he's home with them all the time, then he's more likely, or he's likely, if something is going to happen, he's more likely to be the one that's around them.
Barely matters who's protecting the family, just somebody must.
I like what you said about intuition,
nope.
though. Like, my wife has a lot of intuition. I think she's better than me.
I think she's better than me. This is sad. I wonder how many men are like this. I know the number's growing. I don't. I'm getting upset just knowing that this is the way that a lot of men go out there, walk around the same world that I do. I mean, not really, because I stay in my house, but still gotta go to work and stuff. And vote. This guy votes. This guy votes. Yes, sir, there is. All right, what else did I miss here? Yeah, we got that. No freedom set. All right, so let's see. What can I actually put this up? Boys don't need, no freedom says boys don't need fathers. We just need to put them on. No, yeah, I can't put that. Okay. He says every man knows when ish happens. It is your ass who's getting effed up. Get the children and women out first. Yeah, my ass isn't bullet or fireproof. But I hope the draft don't come. Okay. Yup.
At like helping us avoid.
I just want to hear it again for my own.
My wife has a lot of intuition. I think she's better than me at like helping us avoid unsafe situations.
That makes it worse. That makes it worse. Why are you not doing that?
But to physically combat a stranger that's at your door with a gun, a mask on, and is breaking in.
Yeah, it's convenient to have someone who's more like him than.
But would you send your wife
But I
who's
just don't think
intuitive to
men-
use her intuitive powers to handle that, to protect? Or would you use your masculine, my daughter's protected, I'm
Look,
going down there.
if we get attacked, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my
That's-
family. That's not men having to be masculine.
That exactly is men having to be masculine. You don't have to be the strongest person in the world. You just have to do what you can do. And the more you do what you can do increases. Think about it. It makes sense. John is breathing unsafe situation. He is, I mean, he really is. He's a breathing unsafe situation. My grammar is bad? Hell no, it's not. Well, since he's going to do anything, how's my grammar bad? My grammar is on point. I was one of the grammar Nazis on Facebook and proud of it.
And I just think that's people protecting those they love. I think
Yeah.
when women are put in situations where they have to protect their families, they can exert tremendous force. Obviously,
Sure. Nobody is saying that. You're getting defensive about what women can and can't do. The prompt was men need to be masculine to keep their families safe. It doesn't matter what a woman can or cannot do. If you are not masculine, your family is less safe, regardless of what your wife can do.
they're more vulnerable because they're not typically like as strong on average.
I'm full of testosterone, right?
But
Why?
I don't think like this is something men have to do. I think you gotta be careful
Yeah, I don't feel like men have to save their family. It's like if they just, whatever.
about putting pressure on men to embody some sort of like macho, tough, violent, like
This is toxic masculinity. This is toxic masculinity. Thinking that he's standing up for men and saying that it's not imperative that you protect your family.
It's macho.
I've had men in my life
Nice
who
little cut there. I would have loved to hear what the rest of what she said. Let's do it again. She's like, that's not macho, and then they cut it.
violent,
I
like
don't think it's macho.
I've had men
then they
in
cut
my
that.
life who like embody that tough role, and it like creates uncomfortable environments. It sometimes invites aggression, danger to the situation.
Again, what you are referring to is this pseudo masculinity, the actual toxic masculinity. Not having, thank you, no freedoms, not having the ability to understand that the superficial roles are not what makes you a person.
And it's a certain role playing that I think men actually, it's beneficial to grow out of.
Why do you think it's a role though? What if that's just who they are?
It's innately in them.
Well,
Some
then I think
people-
they
go.
should go to therapy and work on it, or
But
like
why do
play
you
a
think it-
sport and get out that aggression.
So
Well,
I
yeah, I agree.
understand.
Aggression
I-
isn't bad.
I always hear from other male feminists like, oh, that guy's trying to be a macho guy. Why?
Okay,
Why
well,
is
so
it
here's the
insecure?
thing. I think sometimes it's not genuine.
Oh, the male feminists are going to talk about being genuine and authenticity. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Oh, I can't. Please, male feminist, tell me about playing a character. Go on. Go ahead.
He's playing a character. Actually, I'm usually the one to de-escalate situations.
Yes, that's your masculinity, sir. You're this close. You're this close. That is masculinity.
Because of how I look and how
Yeah.
I am presented. So I de-escalate. And actually, I always tell people and I always encourage young men, avoid the fight.
Again, a very strong masculine value. If you can avoid the fight, avoid it, because there is no sense in just puffing your chest out and fighting people, especially if you have a family, just to look cool. That is not masculinity. Dr. Virginia said, these male feminists are so easy to dislike. Goodness gracious me. Goodness gracious me. Did I miss any other? No, all right.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it, stay away. But if you
Correct.
have to, obviously do what you have to do, like survive. And I would say to women or anything. But
Would anybody just clip that one part, what he said about, avoid the fight and that whole thing? Clip that and put that on TikTok. Do you think that the overwhelming majority of people, women, would say, oh, you're being toxic? No, because that is not what they are referring to when they say toxic masculinity. It's the pseudo masculinity. Dan Jensen, my head's starting to hurt after listening to these 8 women. We're almost done. One more prompt.
Jones Hart
One more
and
prompt.
actually try to deter, get away, because violence should be always the last resort.
it
Violence,
takes a humble
violence
man
only
to
brings
walk
more
away from
violence.
us.
Yes.
The
All right.
differences between men and women should be celebrated.
The differences between men and women should be celebrated. I am going to say an astounding yes. They should be celebrated. We are different. We are different. And just like all the, I'm very curious. We're gonna remind me to go back and see from the valuable thing. Women having a child is the most valuable thing. I want to go back and see if the same people step forward, because that is something that is fundamental to the whole argument. If you think these differences should be celebrated, then you should be in favor of uplifting the notion of women having children. That's something to celebrate that is different than men and women. But I'm going to guess it's not going to roll out like that. Dr. Eugenia's got a prediction here. It says 4 of the women will say yes. The other 4 women will say no. Wait, did they all talk? Because it felt like 2 of them was like, you got it. Facts. All right. So,
I'm talking about poles of energy. We have polarity in everything in the universe. From
like I said, at the end of the day, they are still women.
the battery, you can't put 2 negatives into a battery and it work. You can't put 2 positives. Has to go flop. So there's poles day and night. Everything yin yang. It's energy, and we are energy.
I don't think everything's polar though.
It
Like,
is, though, and-
Why apply one lens to
Well,
the
you
whole
just stepped forward with
universe?
the prompt that said that masculine
think-
men and women's
Well,
differences
well,
should be celebrated.
I want to celebrate the difference
So-
between men and women, but I feel like you have this tendency to apply sometimes like these quantum or
Because
like
it is, because we live in a
these
quantum universe of
macro
masculine
ideas
and
to
feminine
everything.
energy.
But you
It
guys
just
do
doesn't
the
have to
same
be
thing too, though. You
I think he's just saying to celebrate differences doesn't mean we exist on 2 opposite poles,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
and
It's
I,
not
we've
okay,
spent
and
our
I'm saying-
Again, a woman coming in to articulate for a man.
Saying that.
Yeah,
So
like,
I'm saying that.
there's things exist in nature that are triangles or triads. Like not everything's yin and yang. You know,
But
it's just-
it kind of is. I actually
Well-
believe that the masculine energy is elevated in a sense that they have more responsibility as protector provider. And so for women, we like lean to them and we look up to them as the leader. So not to say that they're not equal, but there's a little bit more responsibility in the masculine field. And
Yeah. Dr. Evil, John is so amorphous. He has no code he lives by, no backbone, just a weak-ass bitch. Facts. Yeah, she's going on about, well, in the quantum energy, it's all about, and I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with her point, but the way that she got there, like, we're different. That's it. We're different and complementary. That is all you have to say.
without those outlines of structure, then we have chaos and we don't have a society. We have no more children because women aren't having children anymore.
I don't think I fear chaos as much as you. You threw
Hold
in a
on.
nugget.
Hold on. Bro, you're not even willing to protect your own family, but you're down with chaos?
What?
You are, oh my God, you are the worst person I think that has ever been on this platform. I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to stand by that.
I have to take it. You do see women as not.
I don't see them as the same level as me.
I just
You're
wouldn't.
right.
I would encourage you, like, from a loving place, to just maybe challenge that. Like, what? How might your experience change if you saw yourself?
So now you're mansplaining. That's not very feminist of you.
I think women are 4 quarters, a guy is $1. I think they're equal, and they're just not the same.
What do you guys think about that one? Women are 4 quarters and a man is $1. They're equal. They're just not the same. Just give me a yes or a no on that one. Do you agree? Oh, yeah, I have a thing here. Oh, I got rid of that one. Yeah. Do you agree? Women are 4 quarters. Men are $1. They're equal. They're just not the same. Reddit is right. All right. All right. Anybody else want to weigh in before John is the wife? Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, I think that the prompt and what I really took to is that it's so important for you guys to celebrate your femininity.
But not you, Mason. Your femininity was a terrible, horrible, horrible, bad thing. Or maybe your lack of femininity. Just be a tomboy. What? There's never been anything wrong with that. The girl next door. There's never been anything wrong with that.
And celebrate what it means to be a woman for you. And we will joyfully celebrate that with you, right? And likewise to us. However we want to express our masculinity, that should be celebrated, right?
No. 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 If you want to celebrate your femininity by putting your ass cheeks out for the whole world to see, I don't think that should be celebrated. If you're a weak-ass man who won't even stand up to protect his own family, when I don't think that should be celebrated. That doesn't mean overall the differences shouldn't be celebrated, but not everything that is different about men and women is good. Just the idea that we have differences should be celebrated.
Yeah, of course.
And whichever way you had to do it, and like I said, I don't think it's as rigid as like we want society, like some people want us to think it is, but it should be celebrated because there are innate differences that are like just biological, and there's going to be those differences, and there shouldn't be anything frowned upon, like women being like more softer or emotional. It shouldn't be something frowned upon. But if a man chooses to be that shouldn't be like, that's feminine, that's not masculine, that's
Who says that? Who describes situations like or like that? Well, that's not masculine. That's not feminine. That's so simplistic. That's such a simplistic way of thinking. Is that everything that happens in the world goes through, is it masculine or is it feminine? Is it man or is it? I just don't understand how these people are functioning in the world with this type of mentality. How do you make it through the day?
We should celebrate those qualities in people.
Can they disagree a step forward?
Men are more enslaved than ever before.
All right, so this jock
It's a
itch.
tough one, huh?
I agree with most of what everyone said. It's just the should. I agree that the differences between men and women can be celebrated, and I celebrate it. I think most people do to some extent. Do as you please. Yeah.
I feel like it's important to celebrate it because I know for me, part of with gender dysphoria, I really enjoyed, emulating and having masculine traits and being a man. So being able to celebrate that and say, all right, fantastic, I can celebrate that this is a different thing than what my sex assigned at birth would tend to go for.
Observed at birth, actually. Welcome back.
But celebrating both sides of those things and the dichotomy that may be different is really essential to allowing anyone to really just express themselves the way they want to.
Thank you guys. You guys were all amazing.
Thank you.
Very good sports.
Yeah, I wish we could do
Yeah, you
like
guys
5
did
more
great.
rounds.
Yeah, you guys, it was all very helpful.
Oh, man.
Got to see another side of feminism.
Wow. I think I want to talk to you guys. So I'm gonna drop the StreamYard link. If you haven't been up here before, you definitely have to cam up. I would very, very much appreciate if you would cam up if you'd like to come up. But yeah, come on up and tell me what you thought about this. I think this was very enlightening to see how, because if they had, like female feminists and male anti-feminists, I mean, that would still be an interesting conversation, but I don't think that would be the same thing. And so by doing male feminists and female anti-feminists, it really created a different dynamic of this type of conversation that we don't usually get to see, because nobody can pull the gender card. They're talking about each other, and so I don't know. It's very interesting. So your tit stayed in your top. This show was a success. Well, I would have preferred the other way, but hey, that's just me. Anybody coming up? If we're not, I want you guys to remember that the party is not over. The party rages on in Discord. If one of the mods could drop the link, we do have a Discord server. It is bustling. We even got an invite contest going on. You can win free stuff. There's people there. What were we just talking about? Splits was just asking me about DeSantis and Trump. We're talking about Ben Shapiro's sister. Yo, if y'all haven't seen Ben Shapiro's sister, Google that. Dr. Evil says, I'm going to be masculine now and watch baseball. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for sponsoring the stream. Again, guys, please go check out his channel. Oh, that's not that. The Talking Shit podcast with him and Captain Paul, who's been on the channel before as well. They do great work. They span a lot of different topics, and it's I don't know how they make it work so well, because I try to branch out and stuff, but they're really good at covering a lot of different topics. Thank you, Dr. Evil Genius. So yeah, if you want to join the Discord, then that is the link right there. But before we do that, we have Jimmy Dean. Welcome, Jimmy. Oh, whoa. What am I trying to do here? Hold on.
Whoa, are we on?
There we go. We're on. Look at them feet. Oof.
What's
Sexy.
up, buddy?
What's going on, brother?
Okay, so I'm trying to get this working. This is the setup
nice.
now.
Nice.
But it's I gotta make it reach.
Nice.
So yeah.
Lefty Lucy says the women arguing with the quote-unquote men pretending to be women was not a show I'd watch alone. Good work, Indian Jesus. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Bring these conversations that you probably wouldn't have any interest in because they're ridiculous, and find the value in it. So Jimmy Dean, what did you think of this panel?
Oh, I think it was great. I think it's really awesome for feminists to come and meet each other and talk and get their different points of view. And I think everything's going in the right direction, because you even see that, feminists now are starting to come to the natural conclusion of where it leads, which is that if women don't need men, then they have to be the men, which goes back to conservative values. So it's ultimately the feminization of women is going to make conservative women.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And then, something else that, just on a longer time frame is that if conservatives are having children and liberals are getting porridges and sterilizing themselves and their children, then in 20 years, there's just not going to be anything there's not going to be any people left that resemble the leftism that we have today.
Well, that's something that was on the Timcast stream earlier with Michael Malice. I'm sure you've heard of Michael Malice.
Oh, yeah. I was listening to...
Tim loves to point that out, and he mentions his tweet ad nauseum. But Michael Malice said, "I'm not content with waiting 40 years for my liberty and freedoms. I want them now."
Yeah. And
so
it's not. He's agreeing with you. You're saying women are already feminine. They are being masculized. Yeah, they're masculinized or masculinized. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, and that's exactly, I think, Jimmy. What Jimmy is saying is that the ideology is creating weak men, and women are having to step up in that role, and it's not working out for anybody.
Well, I mean, if all the women buy AR-15s, then I'm on board with that. You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess that's a thing, but
it's a small step. It's in the right direction.
So why specifically? Why specifically that? Because you brought that up a couple times in the
chat. Gun owners tend to be more conservative just by the fact that you have something, then you don't want it to be taken away. For instance, like, you know, if you have wealth, then you're more concerned with the government not taking more of your taxes because you'll lose more of your wealth. So that's why, you know, a lot of rich people tend to be conservative and, you know, less regulatory, fewer taxes, in favor of tax cuts. It's because you have wealth to protect. And people who don't have wealth are in favor of the government and the state and high taxes because they're the ones who benefit from it. So if you have a bunch of people going out and buying guns, Democratic, thank you, Dr. Evil. Democratic administrations are the best thing for gun sales, and they are the best thing for 2A advocates and 2A rights. Like you look at gun sales and 2A has never been stronger than right now. Like literally since the NFA, since Joe Biden helped put the NFA into law when he was a senator back in, I think it was like 86, that was signed, and 2A has never been stronger, and it's because of turmoil, and it's because of Democratic administrations. And when people are scared, they buy guns.
When you say 2A has never been stronger, you mean the push for it, or you're saying like the push for people to have guns, or the actual laws themselves?
The laws, Bruin, the Bruin decision, the Supreme Court, NYNRA v. Bruin. Basically destroyed 2A. So NYNRA v. Bruin said that any gun control legislation must be based off of historical fact or residency circa like 1886. So any public consensus or it's for the protection of the people arguments are all automatically thrown out. And that's why a lot of states like New York have had laws repealed and enacted new laws saying that states have to be issued not at will, basically mandatory. I can't think of the word right now. But if you sign up for a concealed carry, then they have to give you one. They can't choose to give you one.
Wow,
So
that's not really because I mean I've since I was a default liberal back in the day, as many of you know, but I used to hate guns just because I didn't know anything about them, and then I realized like, oh, this is a dumb position to have. But I
you should get a gun.
As soon as I get out of Jersey, I am definitely.
Jersey's a little hardcore, man. You don't.
Well, and that's where I was coming from. That that a lot of people are complaining about how they're like Beto O'Rourke's whole thing was we are coming to take your guns, and the conversations seems like it's never been stronger. The push to take guns away has never been stronger, but
the push to it has never been strong, but the push to it is always strong. And the one thing that I will give Republicans credit for, because I don't give Republicans credit for a lot, because they're the do nothing party. they really have been pushing back on 2A and gun rights. In Florida, actually, my state has become a concealed carry state, not an open carry state, but a concealed carry state. In a lot of other states, have been open carry and concealed carry allowing, and it's just nice to see.
Word up. Well, I definitely never heard the take that giving women guns will end feminism, but
oh yeah, well, I mean, there's something empowering about having a gun. It's the great equalizer. My sister's like 4'8", and she carries a pistol pretty much every day. And it's not that she's belligerent and walks around without fear thinking that she can handle every situation, but she knows that she's equipped to handle situations if push comes to shove. Mm-hmm. If push comes to shove comes to get the fuck off my back.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, I never heard that, but it makes a lot of sense. And this is precisely, you know, when we were talking to JJ saying that like he doesn't care about the identity politics and the culture war stuff, that you know, that this is all a distraction. But again, it comes up again that you're what you're saying is based on a cultural issue, and so maybe identity politics specifically are just bad. I agree with that. But the culture war itself is something that, again, is the entry point for a lot of people.
Right. And I'm not saying that it should be part of the culture war. I'm not saying that, you know, women being armed is a replacement for men in the family or strong familial structures.
Right. Just in that,
nothing of the sort. It's just, you know, one part of a bigger puzzle.
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you so much for coming up and hanging out. I gotta see you more often in the Discord, brother. I know you're in there, but I never see you in the voice chat.
I'll post some feet pics.
Oh, more feet pics. So if you want more Jimmy Dean feet pics, sausage pics, if you will, then pause.
I'll post things too.
I did not realize that would come out that way. But yeah, thank you for coming up and putting me on to some game. Give women guns and end feminism. There it is. Anything to say to the people before we get out of here?
I'm Alex Jones. I'm a gorilla. Don't kill yourself.
Thank you for saying that on stream. You really had to go there. All right. Well, have a good night, brother. Don't say stuff like that. But you know, I do appreciate that that perspective. That's an interesting perspective I never really thought of. You know, the idea of pushing or not pushing, but creating circumstances where the byproduct is that people end up having a more similar mentality than okay, no, freedoms, that definitely was a badly worded sentence, but the idea that doing something to get people as a byproduct to want to have values that are more in line with the values that we have and the values that we want other people to have, that does in fact make a lot of sense. So, you know, replay gang, let me know what you thought in the comments below. I want to thank everybody so much that's been here. And a super, super big thank you to everybody who donated, especially Dr. Evil Genius, sponsor of the stream. We also had JJ, Dan a couple times. As always, Dan never comes by without dropping a little something, which is so greatly, greatly appreciated. And Kluk, I am definitely going to get Bob's cheesesteaks tomorrow on Uber Eats. So thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Salute. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. And again, one more time, I'm just going to ask one last little favor of you guys, specifically for the replay gang, because I know you guys here are already subscribed, but over half of you guys watching are not subscribed. It is so easy and it helps you out so much. Please just hit that button. And you got parties every day, every single day. What could be better? I don't know. But hey, this is Morty. I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.